What's up, everyone, and welcome to the ROV Pro League, aka the RPL. This is the unofficial, the very much unofficial English broadcast. I am D2, and this time joining me is The Source. How are you doing, The Source?
I feel like I've been living under a rock. That was some awesome opening, cinematics and intros for those teams. So I feel like I'm excited to watch some of the Thailand League, and I feel like I've been missing out all this time.
Well, this is the exact reason why I started doing these broadcasts this week, because I thought the exact same thing. This league is amazing, and we should be bringing it to the Western viewers. So that's why we're doing these unofficial broadcasts, to bring these games to you. For those of you who don't understand Thai, hopefully you do understand English, and we can be the bridge for you guys, and you can enjoy some amazing Thai games from one of the best regions in AOV. Kind of surprisingly, if you are not familiar with the Arena Valor esports scene, but Thailand, one of the best, if not the best region in all of Arena Valor.
I mean, I'm unsurprised after watching a lot of the World Cup and just how big mobile esports are in the East. It makes a lot of sense. I'm curious to see, how they approach given drafts, different characters, because every region is going to be unique. And as just like the more players you get in a region, the faster metas develop and the more dynamic metas tend to be. So I'm excited to see a region that really seems to be steeped in the mobile esports produce some awesome games.
Exactly, and like you mentioned, just different regions being able to pick and choose and pull strategies from each other is so nice for the meta, and it makes it so that you definitely get to see the best games out there. When only one region is doing the same thing over and over and over again, there's a little bit of stagnation, because you only have the top teams deciding what's going on, and with different top teams in different regions, you see certainly a lot of different play styles. In particular, if you guys haven't been paying attention to the RPL, in Thailand, the meta is a bit different from what you've probably seen in the Valor series. The Valor series kind of likes that death ball lineup, a lot of strong frontliners, but over here in Thailand, they go for a bit more poke, a bit more Natalia action, as we take a look at our standings. And I'll go ahead and let you sum up here.
So yeah, we've got a couple of interesting games today, mostly centered around these two teams in the middle, with RRQ and EVOS basically being at that nice 4 and 5. Seeing how both of them perform could move one or two of them up more or lower in the standings. We were debating, different formats and point systems, and I'm a bigger fan of that best of two. But having the best of three series, we get to see dominant teams truly dominant, and with Alpha Red that far above, it's going to be kind of a question of whether or not the middle of the standing teams with RRQ and EVOS can, one, guarantee themselves a playoff spot, but two, can they kind of build themselves some momentum to maybe upset down the line?
Yeah, exactly. And in case you guys are unaware, even though we're not going to see IT.City Bacon today, if you caught the AWC, that was the finalist team, the team that was one game away from being the world champion. So if you like that team, then you'll like the action in this RPL, because that is IT.City Bacon. They're currently in second place, kind of tentatively, because they've played one more match than the third place team, that being Bazaar Gaming. But there is certainly a gulf between the top three teams and these bottom five. We're going to see the bottom five today, and we'll see who can kind of sneak into that fourth spot, because again, seems like the top three are running away with this. Taking a look at Toyota Diamond Cobra right now, they lost their match yesterday, but that was because they were playing off against the IT.City Bacon team that we mentioned. So perhaps they can redeem themselves going off against pretty much inarguably a weaker team in RRQ.
Yeah, but where RRQ are, they're going to be looking for decisive victory as much as they can possibly get, because they're fighting for that fourth place spot. And again, if you guys are unfamiliar with this league, ROV runs sort of a gauntlet playoffs. Third place fourth, winner plays second, winner plays first. So these guys probably not going to be able to inch their way into that semifinal spot to avoid a game. So they need to be confident. They need to be winning games. And honestly, they need to, in my opinion, try some new stuff, because if they are feeling kind of shaken with where the meta is, got to be willing to take a risk or two, especially if they want to be able to bring themselves up in the standings to get to the playoff.
They are running a gauntlet side playoffs, aren't they? I just realized that they said the wrong thing
Yeah,
there.
no, when I saw that, I was really I was like, wow, that means that the matches that these guys are playing now not just have the point implications to get them there, but you want to be taking as many wins as you can get, and you want to be working out as many kinks as a team as you can, so that you guys are feeling good about your game. You know you can take a punch and get back up because it's not going to be an easy road if you're trying to make it all the way to the grand final.
It's also big for that prize money. Let's just be real
Oh
here,
yeah,
because the prize pool for this league is $180,000. So every spot you can move up is huge, which means that they at least want to get to that fourth spot, if not to get higher in the playoff race. But like we mentioned, it's not only these teams facing off against each other, but facing off against the teams on the other side of our match order, right? Like TDC is going up against RRQ, but they're tied with EVOS debut, who is playing in the second match of today. So all four of these teams are really in a dead heat with each other, trying to get to that fourth spot, with TDC and EVOS having 6 points. Or sorry, EVOS and RRQ having 8 points, excuse me, and Burium, Arctic Wolf, and TDC having 6 points.
yeah. So there's space for one of these lower teams to maybe upset, even if they don't manage to get into that fourth place spot. If you're one of the teams with 6 points, the more games you win, the better you're going to feel, going into next season, going into having to likely requalify for the RV Pro League. So, every match definitely matters at this stage, but it's going to matter to teams for different.
Yeah, that actually, I haven't even thought about that yet. Qualifying is a really big deal. I believe if you're in the top four, you requalify,
Yep.
and if you're in the bottom four, you don't. And with sponsors like Toyota, I think you want to requalify, or else you might get
Oh yeah.
dropped.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, I guess those sponsorships are probably in different. They mean different things in different regions, and I don't think they're probably going to get dropped. I hope they don't get dropped.
Well, the players might get dropped.
Yeah,
So
yeah. Given players' performance. So again, every match matters because the more you perform, the better you do. Even if you're in a losing scenario, showing growth, showing success, showing that you will not be beaten down by losses is massive. And we are already into the draft.
yeah, let's talk about that, Jeff, because we kind of rarely see Superman banned, let alone picked. So that's pretty interesting to see that from TDC here. We do have the Grack ban on the side of RRQ, and this is something I've been slowly but surely more and more against, because there are, in my opinion, more stronger. There are, in my opinion, stronger supports out there like the Mina, and Thailand just seems to be one of those regions that is enamored with Greg because he's been so good for so long. It's kind of like an impulse ban.
Yeah.
And on top of that, I feel like only the lower teams are making that ban. I feel like the top teams have moved on.
I definitely think that's a fair analysis of kind of who and where Grok is as a hero, because when you can think about him versus Mina, the concept of meta and off meta tends to be defined by what is the easiest to pull off given plays and what does it the safest. Grok is a little all in. Grok requires you to be a little bit better than something like a Mina. And as characters like Mina have gotten better, as Arm has entered the meta and just entered the game, you have these characters that can kind of accomplish what Grok wants to do, pick out a given single target, better, safer, less likely to die than he will. And then teams are able to facilitate plays around something like a Mina more easily than, okay, Grok is looking for a hook. If Grok misses hook, the play kind of ends. And so I definitely I feel like that's kind of why lower end teams are would still ban him, but higher end teams, they're like, okay, we know how to play around this, and we know we can force the error out of you to waste that hook. And there we go. We've got Mina and Chognar. I like the Chognar.
The Chognar is the soft counter to Mina because you can deny Dark Dominion, and they're basically taking the Chognar away from the opponent, and he's a reasonable hero in his own right, so it makes sense to kind of take away that option from them.
I wonder why then the Malik.
The Malik is
Because although
always the Malik has been
he's
a high
strong, but I feel like he doesn't do as much.
right. He's it's been just kind of an impulse pick. He's been banned in so many matches. He's almost become like the Superman of this region for a little bit, where if he's not banned, it's like, oh, we got to take him.
Mm.
So that's what he's become at this point. But yeah, I do agree. I feel like people are kind of taking him too early, especially because I think I saw earlier he had a 55% win rate, so it's not like he's, a world beater right now. By the way, to go back on your analysis of Mina versus Greg, I have a bit of a simpler analysis. Dark Dominion is immediate and World Devour is not. It has a wind up time. There you go.
Yeah, that's fair. Like that breaks down my long-winded explanation to like this is let's cut to the chase. Maybe the to your point that Malik is TDC is a a lower performing team. Them just feeling they need to take it because maybe they don't necessarily have an answer. Or maybe it was an oversight in draft, not thinking about the Mina Chognar combination kind of being shut down. But they're showing plenty of poke, some revive, the revive off of the Teamy, some clear ability to rotate. So they've picked a good rotational comp, minus RRQ going with, mobility boots for the Chognar to be able to rotate around the map fairly quickly. They're showing a good, I guess, a composition that's looking to set up and then fight with the poke, get, the value out of the Natalia and the Morin, whereas TDC is looking at a better rotational comp.
Yeah, the other thing to keep in mind is that he's a nice, safe early pick where you don't really pigeon yourself into a certain direction. And say you pick a certain, mid hero or a jungler, and then you're kind of stuck going in that kind of direction, whether it be, poke or dive or what, messing with your rotations, that kind of stuff, and letting your opponent kind of counter you. Whereas Malik is very hard to counter straight up. But I do want to talk about something we haven't seen at all. One is we haven't seen Teamy at all, or at least I haven't seen Teamy all week. When I first started doing these casts. And Morin we've seen banned, but we haven't seen picked quite yet, so I'm pretty interested to see how this goes.
Ooh, Jungle Talanis!
That's what it looks like. That's what it looks like.
I haven't gotten to see this. I remember, I think you brought it up 2 days ago when I saw you starting to broadcast this. And I was like, I don't understand how that works.
Okay, well, they didn't actually end up playing Jungle Talanis, but this does seem like a comp for it. It was, I believe, Alpha Red, but they ended up going with the Jungle Batman. And I think they lost that game, mostly because of the Batman, not really because of the Telenos. The Telenos on that particular game was to counter the Valheim, who was in the side lane. Whereas this time it looks like it's just a straight-up jungle. And Telenos, her passive, if you guys don't know it, it actually has more damage when an ally is nearby. So it doesn't make a whole lot of sense for her to jungle, except if you have Teamy, where you don't actually lose jungle when he's nearby, because of his passive. So the passives work pretty well if you want to be jungling with him. The problem is he has to be on her like white on rice, because otherwise she's not going to be able to get to the jungle very quickly.
Yeah, it's a true rotational composition. Everybody on TDC is going to roam and rotate and move together, with the exception of Summer. And Summer will look to get that split push, look to find value. Over on RRQ side, it's got some poke, it's got some setup. Looks like they're looking for, pull off of the Mina, slows coming out from the Roxy over time, and then that lets Natalia pick something off. It feels a little disjointed because they've got what looks like a really good team fight comp, and then they've got the Natalia for the poke. So I wonder how they're going to set up their team fights, but I mean, I like both compositions. I can't see anything that makes me really dislike them, except for kind of the dyssynergy over on RRQ's side.
Well, Natalia has proven herself to be extremely good, especially after we saw yesterday's games and she was just melting people left and right. It really comes down to just the coordination on the side of RRQ and whether they can set up those arcane orbs, those big arcane spirits to hit their target. But I think the synergy that I see on that side is going with the less of a pokey jungler marksman in the Morin. And he's kind of more of a durable marksman. Although I guess there wasn't really any marksman left, because the Lindis when the Violet was banned, and I believe another marksman, the Slims was banned too. So really all they had left was Rourke, who is not really a marksman, and Morin, and then Fennec, who has a 40% win rate. But we have a little bit of invade coming here from TDC, and the counter invade on the bottom side, as you can see on the minimap.
Well, L9 got a good pull, so that'll slow things down. Mr. Sun's putting some pressure onto trying to pick up the jungle, but again, the thing reset, and so now the TDC is in a bad spot. I mean, if you're gonna make a jungle invade like that, I think you would kind of need to get more people to commit to it. But now Morin is ahead, and that's going to be really bad because the faster he kind of snowballs into picking up the speed. I guess my issue with Morin overall as a character and why I kind of feel the dyssynergy is like Natalia, he kind of has to stand still a little bit more than I think other marksmen do because his range needs to be closer. He has to get in their face. So that's kind of my concern is that when they start to do that, Natalia and him have to stand still, and if Malik gets on them, then things start to go badly.
Well, he is very well equipped standing still, though, because he has a pushback. He has an ult that stuns people in place if he lands his two, so he's very durable in that regard, and there's no great way to dive him, so I think he's going to do just fine. I want to talk about the lack of execution here from TDC, just completely botching that early invade and letting RRQ kind of build themselves a lead here. On the other hand, RRQ could have, or the Warren was a bit tentative himself, and probably could have gone even more monsters if he wasn't running away all of a sudden.
Didn't he give up the lower camp by the tower and walk away from that?
Right, that's what I'm talking about. He could
I
have
think he
taken
missed that by like one auto attack, so that might have been a problem. Snow looking to roam in, gonna give Mr. Suns a little bit of backup. Who did that end up going over? Did that think
Mr.
that went
Suns,
over
yeah.
to
Mr.
Okay.
Suns and Natal, yeah.
So they managed to steal that away, kind of make up for some of what was a little bit of a botched early invade. So decent rotation so far. TDC starting up Dragon. That's a good. I mean, they were all about the team rotation, all about keeping everybody, together, and then cutting off some of the things with, the Irie or not Irie, the Liliana.
Oh,
Oh
oh,
wow, that's aggressive.
yeah, big shot coming in. It was a big Death's Embrace coming in from Summer. I think he flickered in as well to get that off. Great play by Summer there, setting things up for Chitawan to come in with the shock on Malik. So really well played here by TDC. The issue for TDC, however, is they were completely all in onto that Abyssal take because they had no one in the top lane. They were completely letting waves go, but I think like RRQ basically let them get away with it by donating that kill to them.
Yeah, and that was some good decisive team fight decision making. Decent pull under tower. 2 tower shots will go onto Chitwan, but not too much of a concern. And yeah, I want to see Snow set up as much roaming potential as possible. Just because they will find their advantage in this earlier mid game before Morin gets too dangerous. And if they do let him farm, they like the more invades they do, the better. If Morin just gets to farm, they'll start to run into trouble over time.
Right, I feel like both of these teams, though, they're kind of set up to excel in the late game, especially if you're talking about Telenos and the Morin here. So really interesting to see how this is playing out. And TDC just walks over and take this tower with no repercussion on the side of RRQ getting anything done, and they're just letting him walk all over. Norland's getting pounced upon. Dark Dominion comes out. Snow's in a bit of trouble. He might have to pop his ult. Decides not to. I like the patience for him not panicking there. And they get away with their lives, but that means they lose some of the rotations.
I think the top tower going down was just good rotational timing by TDC. They knew that there were a couple of people backing. They'd managed to get a little bit of vision out in the jungle, and that was some pretty good snap decision making. Roxy's wave clear. I mean, that matchup with Omen isn't very good for her. If she's able to find a kill early, maybe she can kind of abuse him, use the fire to gain some advantage, but Omen honestly just pretty much outduels everybody.
Yeah, that's certainly the case. He does have... I think that Roxy's one of the few people that he can't really just kill on his own because of that great lifesteal and just durability overall. And not to mention the great wave clear. Looks like a bit of a tussle between Nornan and Rhea. And somehow between two mages, no one takes any damage. I'm not really sure how that happened, but Summer goes down in the top as a 3-man rotate over. Looks like it's going to be a trade of an Abyssal Dragon for the top tower here. And everything is just kind of moving along, but they're going to go ahead and steal this camp while they're at it.
I think the Roxy Omen matchup is more to the point where Roxy won't kill him. So it ends up kind of being a wash, and Omen might kill her if she overcommits, if she sticks around too long, if he gets a gank. So, I think that being her not wanting to step up and risk that and then dying and then, waits for the team to show up. They get back up, they kill the Omen, and they get the tower and full engage. That's going to be Nornan going down.
Yeah, very well done. Very nice rotation here to the center here to get that off. And lots of damage going on to the L9 as well. They're kind of on their heels. Looks like one of us is going to get an Agnes Grasp off, unable to do so. But they do get the minion wave out of the way, which means the pressure is thwarted, but never mind. They're going to be pushing onto the Sage Golem right here. Ult comes out from Morn to try to slow them down, but getting very little damage on them other than the Snow here, who does have a revive if ever wants it. Looks like the buff goes to Rie. Actually, I didn't see that since Sandman has it. Sadman has it as well. Has the blue buff, I mean.
I'm gonna say it went to Sadman, because actually, yeah, it went to Sadman. Ria's just pop. No, wait, no, it went to Ria. I can't figure it out, and Roxy dies.
Yeah,
I'm trying to sort this out. I'm like, wait, he stole their blue, so maybe it's his, maybe not, but it doesn't really matter because TDC is just showing very, very decisive willingness to initiate pretty much in every chance they get.
Yeah,
they just want to fight.
RRQ is just disjointed right now. They're not really coming together as a team. They were trying to defend their tower, but then they realized once the shot came in that they had to run away. And right as they're running away, the Roxy comes in and just kind of dies without anyone really telling her that they were disengaging. So not really working out too well for them. Mr. Sun's going to go ahead and take his blue buff. And they're building up slowly but surely a pretty big lead here. I mean, if you look at it, they've taken down 3 towers. They're up 2.6k gold at the moment. And they have the map pressure and the gold lead, even though it's only 3 versus 1 as far as kills are concerned.
RRQ is definitely looking to get their late game power spikes, but TDC, I mean, partially through having a good team that rotates and fights on the go fairly well, they're just playing more decisively. Their shot calling seems to be on point, where as soon as somebody says go, they all in whoever the target is, and they haven't been afraid to pressure anything.
Yeah, and I'm really liking how they're playing around their Tell. It's almost like the fact that they're forced to play around her is making her play better, as Coop is trying to 1v4 this. I mean, nearly gets them down, but they... Yeah, didn't even have to really pop the revive there. But the fact that he put that pressure on bought time for his team to look like it was a smart decision in the end. You don't always get to say a 1v4 is a good decision, but if it's going to get you a tower and really put pressure on the other team, then I guess it's worth it.
I think the problem is this is turning into a bit of a zero-sum game. Now Sadman, getting this rotation in here, but if they lose this team fight, things are going to start to fall apart.
Yeah, let's see what they can do. L9's getting in trouble. He gets the Delta Embrace onto him, taking a lot of damage. In comes a shock, and L9 does go down. Now they're switching their focus onto the Wand. He misses the Agnes grab. She's going to eat this Reiki shot and go down in a blast. And that is a great team fight for TDC.
So that was really the problem. Yes, they managed to get that tower and even things out, but they were pretty much trading, and then they traded into a poorly positioned team fight. I don't actually think we've ever seen all 5 members of RRQ in the same spot, and based on where the positioning of that team fight was, TDC can now go for the Darkslayer.
Yeah, absolutely, especially because of the fact that they've taken down those towers previously, and they have the advantage of being able to zone members out, take on the Darkslayer. And I know that these patches have been out for about a couple weeks to a month, depending on where you are, but just to reiterate, if you get that Darkslayer, it doesn't give you teamfight buffs anymore other than health regen buff, but you also get the Drake, so it's kind of like a... Ooh, interesting. So the Drake is let go in the mid. Chidowan has to shock away, but yeah, like I mentioned, that Drake is very good for pushing down towers. So Darkslayer buff, great for getting towers, and the Abyssal Dragon after 10 minutes is great for team fighting.
And that was perfect positioning by Chidowan. Managed to bait them out. The moment he saw that there were members there, he instantly used the shock to get out of there, and now Drake plus a Talanis, who's going to be able to fire from outside range. They're easily going to be able to poke. I mean, Kuba goes in and tries to annoy them a little bit, but at the end of the day, they can, again, just kind of set up the siege with the Talanis.
This is the strength, though, of Natalia, right? She's able to clear that wave so very quickly that they're actually able to hold that down. But the shot comes in, trying to get onto L9, as she's trying to get that damage in as well. Coop going down extremely low. They're able to get L9 in the end. And Coop comes away with his life, but still, they're still under this pressure, and this tower is about to go down. Snow jumping on, puts in his chain lance. He goes down. Did he pop his ult? He does. Actually got it off in time very impressively. He has 0 health once more, but they are taking down the members of RRQ like it's nothing. And wow, I did not think he got that ult off in time.
Oh, that was so much burst. Goodbye, Nornan. He will be bursted into oblivion. That was incredibly good skill shot firing coming up from Ree. And I thought this defense was kind of going in RRQ's favor. Like, they'd managed to consolidate, but they decided to walk back in. The waves show up at the right time, and this looks like TDC should be able to clean this up because they've got that 1 cannon minion left. and down goes the protection.
Disconnect.
Pause.
Pause right now. Yeah, there you see them applauding in the bottom left corner. This game, oh my god, look at the bottom right. They're not have.
That's no, because this was a moment for them to build some momentum, and now they need to come back for 2 wins. They won't be able to have that decisive victory because this game is all but finished, and it just looked like they couldn't rally themselves to a point, even when the invade was botched at the start of the game.
And that's the reason why managing the waves is so important, because just when it seemed like they had held off the mid tower and RRQ was like, okay, let's go back and heal and try to defend some more, they were already being pushed in their bottom tower. And by the way, this countdown doesn't matter. The game is over. But they were already getting pushed down in their bottom tower, and so they were not in position to take that down. When they finally got there, several members were already dead or dying. So bottom tower goes down. Then the mid wave is there once more. Mid wave goes down. More members fall. And that was only possible because of the fact that multiple minion waves were pushing at the exact same time. So again, good macro play, and oh my goodness, RRQ looked devastated. That's not a good state to be in when you still have games to play.
I mean, we start with this failed invade, right? That's where RRQ gained an advantage. They end up being up one buff camp. They end up, having okay lanes. Nothing's problem. And then all it took was one tower dropping one good rotation from TDC. They drop a tower. They start to get the Abyssal Dragon. They rotate around well, and I mean that flicker play by Summer, that might have that could have either been them kind of turning up the heat, or Summer personally made an X Factor play, rallied the team in line.
Oh, there we go.
They're showing this play is so significant at the start of just that could have been the rallying cry to TDC to be like, okay, we messed up the invade, but what does it matter? We're ready to play.
The thing is, not to put a wet blanket over TDC's win here. I feel like they had some issues as far as grouping up a little bit too much. Like, I feel like a team who is very versed in macro play could have taken advantage of that, but the indecisiveness of RRQ just prevented them from being able to do so. And so, in the same game, you saw why TDC is perhaps not in the upper echelon of this league, but also it just feels like they're superior to RRQ, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, it could very much, if any of those plays don't really go their way, like that flicker doesn't fully connect and result in the same thing, then the Roxy is pushing up in the top and finding massive advantage. The rest of the positioning of the team ends up getting them more gold across the board. So a better team versus TDC maybe doesn't give up as many kills, maybe doesn't open up the opportunity, and RRQ just seems in a space where they're.
And we have to say that RRQ earlier in the season actually defeated TDC. That's correct, right?
Let me check.
You said August 22nd?
No, I think that was RRQ versus EVOS, but
oh, excuse me. Anyway, the point is coming.
Yes,
the point is coming.
RRQ did beat TDC previously.
Right. That and the point is they're coming into this with more points in them, which means they were coming in ahead. And based on the earlier match this week and this match, it just feels like RRQ is falling apart. I don't know if they were playing better earlier. I don't know if they lost all their confidence. Maybe they had a roster swap that I'm unaware of, but they just do not seem like a team that's put together. And earlier this week when they were playing against Bizarre Gaming, they were completely tentative and didn't know if they should be contesting certain objectives, and it seemed like the same exact thing in this game. We saw earlier the botched invade from TDC, and they didn't take advantage at all. They were not even ahead in gold after all of that, even though they were basically handed the advantage on the silver platter. So not taking advantage to RRQ, and it's really costing them.
Yeah, and that was a 2-0 in favor of RRQ when they did beat them. So,
yeah, what is going on?
Solid decisive win, now turning around. I mean, you'd have to go back to where things started to turn against them, I guess, over the course of the group stage. So looking at it, RRQ beats TDC in week 1. So this could very much be TDC, both improving as a team and RRQ kind of falling down a bit. They go 2-1 versus EVOS, they lose to Bazaar, they lose to SNC. So that could be on August 28th. That could be the loss that starts to cause them some problems. Then they lose.
Yeah, the
They get, like
ignominy.
they lose to currently what is the team with the least the worst
Points and
record.
wins. Yeah, the
Yeah.
only win is
So
against them. So,
but then they beat
well, anyway,
Buriram
regardless.
Arctic Wolves. So like maybe it's just shaky performance and maybe today's TDC's day.
Yeah, well, regardless, these matches are extremely important, and not just the overall series, but each point, because these teams are so close together in the standings, and points are the only thing that matter in the standings, aka games. So the fact that TDC got this game is huge, because even if RRQ wins the next two, the most they can be ahead of them is three, and in fact they could be tied after today. So they're limiting the amount of games that they can put themselves ahead of TDC, and it certainly seems like TDC is going to zoom past them in the weeks to come. But we have our draft already underway, and Gorak first ban. You know how I feel about that one. They're going to go ahead and take away the Malak as well, which ended up turning out pretty well for TDC in that game, so not the worst pick in the first place. Now, we have the Violet and Lindis bans here from TDC, and that's who... Oh, I suppose that was interesting. Okay, their bans are like flipped now. Interestingly enough, as TDC decides to ban the marksman that RRQ did ban last time, RRQ themselves go ahead and pick the remaining best marksman jungler left in the Slims, which leaves a possibility open for the same thing that we saw last game. But looks like they're going to go a different direction. Well, at the very least, they're going to take a side lane Valheim, it looks like.
So I'm more focused on the fact that the ARM makes it through because it wasn't banned, and TDC, if you're Summer, you feel good because they respect banned that Omen. Like Omen is good for sure. He's a strong side laner, but you got to think that maybe they were like, okay, Omen kind of wrecked us in that game. Summer made a pretty massive play, so that could legitimately be a respect ban from RRQ after what just happened. Leaves open the arm, so now you're looking at that for a hard engage, and I think pretty much everybody in every region is aware of how powerful Valheim can be if supported properly.
Yeah, so let's see what they decide to go for to deal with this Valheim. Could we see a Marja side lane? Could we see... we could see a Chognar side lane, actually, and it seems like that's going to be the case, since they are locking in the Mina-Chognar duo this time, once more.
I mean, the Chognar was getting strong enough, like, took a 1v4, kind of almost killed someone, and maybe with, like, better sidestepping avoids the cleave that kills him when TDC takes the second inner tower. It didn't... I just feel like RRQ's composition never got to do what they wanted to do. And maybe that, that's their current performance. Maybe it's shot calling. Maybe they wanted to get them deeper into items before they took a fight, but they never once really aggressed on TDC. And TDC's kind of looks like they're running a similar composition.
Liliana with a 46% win rate in this league feels bad, man, for Rhea. And I feel like a lot of those wins comes from Memarks as well, who is one of the best mages in Thailand. But they do have the teaming, which means that opens up the possibility for a double marksman comp with the Telenos jungler once more. We've seen a lot of double marksman comps in this league, so that's certainly a possibility. But yeah, it looks like we're finishing up with Dioma and the Raz. Raz certainly a reasonable hero to choose. They're gonna shy away from that Natalia this time.
Yeah, go for something with a bit more all in. So let Slims do kind of the skirting around the side of the fight. Let Raz poke and then feel comfortable kind of hard engaging, because there were moments where they might have been able to find a kill and turn things around, gain some momentum, but they never really found it. And
Rourke.
Okay, I'm still as a player who spent unbearable amounts of time in solo queue. Rourke always makes me frustrated, but again, it's another thing that lends them to high rotations. If they're able to rotate well, they will drop towers just like they did last game, and now they can do it even, they can do it with a significantly more finesse with Rourke.
So it looks like on the side of. Actually, these are switched, aren't they? Okay, I'm
Yeah,
confused
they've
now.
flipped. The
the
comps are flipped.
their physical position in the background is flipped from their comps in the front ground, but the reason why they've done that is because they want to differentiate between the team on the left, who is the blue, and the team on the right, which is the red, which makes a difference when you're looking at the map. So it does make sense. They didn't flip it on accident. They flipped it on purpose, but it's still confusing. Anyway, regardless, TDC, or excuse me, RRQ have a very nice poke comp, and the Yoma lends itself to that. That and the power surges coming from that Raz as well as the Slims, and it's kind of like, come at me, bro. We have all the control we need and all the poke that we need, and that's going to be contested by this Warwick, who this seems like a very much protect the Rourke comp, even though he's a frontliner, because he needs to get in there and get some work done and kind of bull down this front line.
Yeah, and I think this comp lends itself better to what RRQ was trying to do because, again, their last composition doesn't really have the mobility in comparison to this one. It still has the poke, it still has crowd control, it can still get the job done, but Lily, you don't have the Natalia who's going to be standing still, and you don't have the Morin who needs to be higher in items when it comes to attack speed to be able to kite properly. You've got a Slims who's just going to jump away when he's in trouble, and you've got Raz who's going to punch in the face. So they get what they wanted in the last comp in a sense, but with a little bit more safety.
All right, we'll see this back and forth between Wanoise and Chitawan, and it's funny because Ryoma can actually outrange her with his Naginata Jutsu, and I mean literally all of his abilities. I'm just trying to remember and show off my Japanese skills. But
10 out of 10, 10 out of 10 pronunciation.
Naginata Jutsu actually means way of the long sword, if you guys are wondering. So that certainly makes sense.
We're getting the Japanese lesson as well. This is the all inclusive stream, guys. We'll give you Arena of Valor and cultural updates.
I can't give you much on Thai culture, but I do my best. We do have the Japanese skin from the Liliana as well, so there's that. The Japanese, the pop star Liliana.
Gotta love it.
All her voice lines are about being a pop star, by the way. if you guys are curious.
I mean, pop star Liliana versus Muay Thai Raz. I love that skin. That one's pretty good. And the reason we're talking about these skins and the side things is because things have been pretty safe up until Snow gets caught, gets slowed down, pulled in. There's the side, there's everything that RRQ was looking for in the last setup. They just obliterate him, and it like that's what they were trying to do last game, and they never got there.
That was the best play I've seen from RRQ in 4 games that I've cast from them. Literally. It's like, what? I honestly was like, oh, good pick by TDC. Oh, that was actually RRQ. Okay. I literally have not seen a play from them like that in 4 games. So I'm excited now. Let's bring it.
Yeah, combine that with just how quickly snap instantly onto the Abyssal Dragon. They've got Raz posturing up in this brush. They're about to pick Snow again. They get the knock up, the pull back. They get a little bit more. No, what noise! He misses it by inches, but then a pull and a re, and they've got some skills back up in a couple of seconds. This is
who is this team? What's going on?
Yeah, like where? Oh, got him! They got Snow. Snow gets picked off in the bush by Wanoise. Maybe they just needed to just go down a game to release their full potential. Like that, normally you don't want that with a team, but like they seem to have woken up.
I think it might be the comp. They seem very comfortable in these heroes, and it's perhaps that they've been following the meta too much and following the top teams in the league, or perhaps they've had their best heroes banned out.
And this is going to be great for them. 3-man collapse. Snow's not
no
arc damage. Never mind. Everything turned around. TDC back. I mean.
Yeah, people forgot about Rourke. You can't just walk up to Rourke. He is going to melt you, unfortunately.
Well, so what we had setting up there was TDC doing what their composition does, looking to get that roam, drop those early towers, be that Rourke composition. And I was right in terms of the timing that Snow wasn't going to be there in time at level 4. Snow didn't get level 4 until the tower dropped. So if RRQ plays that better and instantly gets the CC chain on the Rourke, there isn't going to be a revive, and maybe they get that kill and continue the snowball. Apparently not, and now TDC, they're coming with a vengeance. Ooh. They're like, this game just picked up in pace pretty quickly.
I like that TDC didn't shy away even after RRQ had that fast start. They weren't like, oh, RRQ's bringing it. Maybe we should back off a bit. No, they were like, okay, we see you, we see you. We're gonna be in your face too, though. We're gonna get some kills for our own side, and they have taken the gold lead.
So this Abyssal Dragon's been scouted out. Chidwa looking, messing with Coop a little bit. I don't. Oh, they're all right. They're gonna give this one up. I thought they could have very much
Well,
taken that
Nornan is
fight.
still messing around.
I think he's just being annoying, like just trying to keep vision while they set up the kill onto the Valheim in the top. And
Right.
it looks like the CC chain missed, but they'll drop the tower. Maybe.
Uh,
They'll get L9. That could have been dangerous if Liliana decided to roam in, but they've got a fight down in the bottom. They've got the binding from Aram. It's going to be a pullback in by Nornan, and he may actually end up getting 2 kills for this. Because Snow's going to take the damage, and he jukes away. Is he going to get away from him? He gets under the tower. Oh, Mr. Suns. And he's got the minions. He'll be fine, but that was well played by Nornan. So you said it could be comfort. Nornan pulling out the moves.
Yeah, absolutely. That was a 3v2, and they only traded out... Oh, they traded out 2 for 1. Okay, even though there were 2v3 in that fight, so certainly better there for RRQ. You saw the snare that came onto the Chognar there. I'm forgetting his ultimate ability, like Chaos Dimension or something like that. But it removes all CC, but not snare. Snare overrides everything, and that includes Teamy's ult, even though they're on the same team.
Is that technically quantified as a snare or a suppress? Like just across MOBAs, there's always like a question as to how those get defined and coded.
The literal name of the ability is snare. That's why I'm saying snare. So that's
right. I should know this. I used to play a stupid amount of ARM. I haven't been playing her as much as I used to. I'm just like I'm thinking about the coding and I'm like snare versus stun versus suppress and like we're getting too into it. It doesn't matter. They're still team fighting.
Whatever suppress is, it's probably that. It basically overrides all CC immunity. It just whoa.
Oh, that
big
stun.
Wow, great. He's gonna be revived by being a bro, but he might die anyway. Flickers away, gets shot down by Sadman. Well played, but in comes Mr. Suns, pops his ult, gonna get some damage in. Can he take? Oh wow, big damage onto Noise. He goes down in the end, unable to get that Wailing Blade coming out and falling back in time. And that's a 1 for 1 at the end of all that.
Beware the CC immunity. Beware the Rourke. I mean that. It looked like they might have been able to just kind of kite that out, but stopping to just put in that little bit of damage and stun. But here's going to be a full dive on Chidwa. They're going to get the CC onto him. Snare on the Coop, but they dropped the tower. Maybe it's not worth the chase, and we're going to get a pause.
Yeah, Chidaman, unfortunately, just used his flicker, or it's just coming off cooldown, one of the two. So
I think he just used it.
Right, so wasn't able to get the flicker onto the slims there. If they had, he would have been a dead rat. Or whatever he is. But yeah, bunny, something like that. It's
a bunny. He hops around. He's a bunny. He's a rabbit, a hare of some sort.
We'll call him a hare. He seems more like a hare. Hare, for those of you who speak English as your second language.
He seems too cute to be a bunny. Like that seems inappropriate for a spear wielding.
Hey, you never know.
I guess that's true. Anything can be cute and deadly. So now rotation.
If dead rabbits in the Valor series EU is any indication.
Oh, they're such a nice surprise as a team. I was not expecting them to be that good.
Ooh, speaking of surprise, trying to get in on Nornan, he has to flicker away as well, and they're gonna go ahead and try to take this stage comb. They are able to get it and run away. Yeah, some more pauses here. I'm wondering what's going on. But let's take stock of the situation. A little bit of a lead here for TDC. Looking at those towers, they've taken 3 versus 2. So they do have the gold lead and the tower lead in this current situation. Working out somewhat well for them. The problem that they have is that Rourke does not scale too well in the late game, especially because of the tower bug going away. So he can't just cheese towers as part of his late game anymore. And so that's problematic. But that said, Yomic, you can say similar things. He doesn't really scale into the late game either, so a bit of an interesting situation on our hands.
I think it comes down to the spacing of the team fighting. You want RRQ, so much of their team fight is based around either L9 getting that big massive dark dominion, but you can't really bank on that. So it's it's about that hook into the spear into the Wailing Blade into the Power Surge. Like it's about that individual pick scenario. Whereas TDC, a little bit better of a general team fight, a little bit more open CC. They have the individual pick potential, but like you can get 3 people with a shining light, and it just starts to snowball out of control for Liliana. So I think it'll come down to team fight placement for both of these teams and where they decide to pick their engagement.
One thing to consider as well is that Teamy's being a bro is a bit of a counter to the Dark Dominion, because you can, in that situation, pop his ult because it's a simple CC. It's not the unoverridable CC that is Snare. So that is something, if someone gets caught and they're about to die, you can pop being a bro to bring that person right back to life. Though after a few nerfs, they will have less health than they're accustomed to back in the day.
Yeah, I mean, like specifically within that, then it becomes a question: is like, can Teamy afford to be taunted? Because if Teamy is taunted and stunned and CC locked, can't get off the ultimate.
No, he can. He has his override CC. So.
Oh wait,
Yeah.
When did that change?
Oh, it's always been like that.
Really? I thought you. Oh, okay. Never mind. Learn new things about Teamy.
Yeah, except you can't.
The more you know.
But the only thing that you can't do it against is Snare. So, yeah. That's something to keep in mind. But they're on the same team, thankfully. He is getting extremely low. Speaking of snow, has to pop his essence in the wind, and he goes down. Thought he was safe, but bursted down all of a sudden by all 4 members collapsing there. Mr. Sun's getting low as well.
You don't need CC when you burst them in 1 second. Better, yeah, better than reaction time.
Well, the thing is, he was so. Valheim is in trouble. They're gonna use Dark Dominion just in case he flies away, because he gets pretty fast sometimes when he pops his ult there. But yeah, obviously he didn't think he was gonna die that fast, and he didn't want to pop his ult too early because he wasn't safe enough position wise to just waddle away, and they would have just waited it out and killed him if he popped it too early. So. All of that aside, we do have a take on the Darkslayer here from RRQ, trying to get back in this game. In fact, they're taking a lead now if they're able to take this tower, since they do have that gold lead. And pushing in here. Let's get a bit of split push here from Liliana, trying to force them back, and it's working from the looks of it.
I mean, sieging onto the high ground is, maybe they just wouldn't feel comfortable doing that, so not wanting to get collapsed on, not having Raz there to be able to come in and back them up. Taking a 4v5 is never smart when you can, be pinched up against the wall and just a bad position, nothing to retreat to. So I'm assuming they backed up kind of for that reason. I'd also, I guess I'm curious about your thoughts on Summer's build, Blitzblade into Frostcape. If we take a second to think about the Valheim build while these two teams position them. Wait, what is the Drake doing?
The Drake is attacking the tower.
No, but it took the weirdest path. How did it end up in the side jungle? I've never seen it do that.
Oh, well, if you release in the side jungle, that's where it goes. But Snow is about to go down, unable to get his ult off once more. I think that might have been just a misplay, because, like I mentioned, you can get it off even if you are CC'd. But
I think he might be holding it timing wise. He's just like, he doesn't want to waste it unless he's going to get value.
Right. We've only seen him use it properly one time, but
Chidowan down into the back line.
Well, Chidowan tries to get the snare off, unable to get a kill out of it, unfortunately. But lots of members on TDC extremely low. But first to go down is Coob after Norton went down earlier, and multiple members of RRQ following. Though Mr. Suns went down as well. Summer went down to one noise while the camera wasn't over there. So after a nice start to that fight from TDC, they drop 2. And RQ is going to switch their sights over to this Abyssal Dragon Kratos to try to get that team buff.
I mean, Chidowan set up the play, got the flicker snare onto Sadman, but I mean, a good defense from RQ to not let anybody get on top of him. And I mean, they end up getting an effective 2 for 2. They take one, they get the 2 for 2 and the Abyssal Dragon, so RQ comes out ahead, but. I wonder whether or not why TDC didn't manage to just instantly collapse on that Slim, because that was the primary target. They managed to find him, and there wasn't really going to be any protecting him. Like, he was all alone.
Right, that's the problem though, right? She did flicker on over, so it's not like everyone can just flicker on over as well. They do have flickers, all of them, but not in that particular
I'd
situation.
still say that Liliana is kind of mobile enough to get in there, and I guess that Summer
But
wasn't really in position to do anything. So
yeah, but
I fault them.
I think you've been seeing too much Sleepy because not all Liliana's.
I guess you're right. I guess you're right.
You can't always jump in 1v4, you know, and try to get in that damage. But what Noise is gonna get is taken down here. There's also the consideration that L9 immediately popped the Essence of the Wind Shield on him.
Oh, but this collapse, this
Ooh.
is going to be good. L9 gets the pull on to Summer, use the Dark Dominion, just give Sadman the safety, and they're actually going to fight the fight on two fronts.
Oh, wow! That burst!
Damage. I was like, there's no Rourke ultimate, so like he's not just going to instantly rack him. Never mind.
Rourke has lots of damage, mind you, especially because of, I mean, look at his build. He's got Soul Reaver into Rank Breaker and Omni Arms, gets him that extra damage off of his one. I'm pretty sure that was his first ability there, getting that massive burst. But yeah, here we are. 4k gold lead for RRQ, but their Abyssal buff has worn off. They're trying to siege onto these towers, but they don't have any other objectives with which to contest here. We do see that Sadman has picked up that Dark Curse, Dark Slayer buff, even though it's so confusing. It's called the Dark Slayer buff or something, even though you get it after you kill the Abyssal. But regardless, it has the effect of the Death Sickle, in which if you take lethal damage, you get a huge health. You don't die, and then you get this huge health regen bonus. Not regen bonus. You basically get like 2,000 health.
I mean, I've loved the adaptation to the map, making the objectives a bit more dynamic and opening things up. And Nornan, he knows where Snow is. They're gonna throw the spear into the brush when Noise is looking for an opportunity. Gets pressured by Mr. Suns, and that's a lot of damage onto Snow. He will pop the ultimate. He's going to go down. Summer's going to survive. And here comes the Leona into the backline. They've got more members back up. The Dark Dominion doesn't really get that much. And now L9 left on an island all alone. Summer flickers over, but L9 still gets him. And Sadman survives. I mean, L9 will die for the cause. But
will he?
Will he?
Oh, okay. Rhea gets him.
Dies for the cause, but, I mean, you keep the AD carry alive, you can still keep things around. But Mr. Suns, great damage and great coordination from TDC in that team fight.
Chittawon absolutely won that fight for TDC because Mr. Suns popped his ult, got nothing out of it, had to run away. The Valheim was also getting extremely low as well. I do have to give some props to Snow also for making the fight just drag on for forever because he popped his ultimate there. But it was Chittawon who flickered in, used his ult, got the kill, and was getting massive damage on the other members while, you know, having that extra delay in the team fight. It was just delay upon delay between the Being a Bro and the Snare, where it's like, RRQs, we can't attack anyone. This isn't fair.
Yeah, I mean, I guess we're starting to see one concern with RRQ is if they're not dictating the pace of the fight and they're not finding that initial pick at the start of it, or, you know, being able to kite the fight for an extended period of time. If it just kind of balls up, they run into issues. But, I mean, Sadman's managed to survive. L9 made some really great plays there, had really great targeting. I thought when Summer flickered over, that was going to be the end of him, and he's just like, nope, I'm just going to survive. Gets the pull in onto Mr. Sun. The ultimate is popped, so he'll be able to run away from that, and TDC will set up their siege.
I'm unsure why he got spooked and used his ultimate there, but he's going to go ahead and split push because he's not going to be too much use in a 5v5 run at each other team fight. He's going to rotate over, and this Drake is not long for this world, so doesn't do a whole lot, but we are nearly knotted up here as the gold lead.
Wait, he's also got Blade of Eternity. Like, why was he that scared?
You don't want to throw away your life, especially because if this game goes super long, there is a consideration that it only has 2 revives. But yeah, you don't want to throw away your life. You want your revive to be in a situation where, like, oh god, we're still fighting, and then all of a sudden he's back up and he's killing us. You don't want to randomly just die.
But like, you also have Snow and you have the team. I definitely think you were right that he got spooked. I just think he was looking for the Dark Dominion to come out, and that's a lot of damage on a Jinwon.
Yeah, if Arum's taking that much damage, then that is a lot of burst. Oh, and Sadman picks up the Fenris too. That's a really big deal because up until now he's been building mostly attack speed. And Chittawon, they can see you. You can't hide under like a chair like that. But in comes the pull from L9. Things are getting crazy here. Snow pops his ult. I think he got both revives. Yes, he does. That's gonna do a lot of damage, but both sides are falling. Excuse me, I take it back. The side of RRQ isn't falling at all. But Mr. Suns changed that. Gets a kill off his own. And that means we end that madness with a 2v2?
How is that a 2 for 2?
I
I
think.
mean,
Uh,
yeah, that was a 2 for 2. RRQ managed to turn that around despite
oh, no, it was
the
the
double
opposite. Yeah, it was RQ was dominating that fight. They had zero
yeah.
dead. And then I
Well, no,
think.
but the double death comes out. You get the double revive, but they double revived into a blender, and you think RRQ is gonna wipe them, and then TDC just kind of scuttle away.
Right, they were getting kills too. I think they got the first 2 kills even after that double revive, and then I think they got 3 kills, and Mr. Suns came back because of his Blade of Eternity. I think that's what happened. But he has no mana, so he is
Oh, he's
dead.
gone. That's fairly brutal. They'll have the Liliana show
Oh,
up. I mean, you can kind
they
of kite this. Summer's
yeah,
feeling it.
maybe. Hello, Rhea comes in, goes in the fox form, takes out 2. One always is gonna come back with that Blade of Eternity, but Rhea's on the. Ooh, okay, I decided to think better of it because we have the cavalry coming in with the Slims and the Res, who can certainly blow up people in an instant.
Yeah, I mean the damage is definitely there for Norton. He hits like an absolute truck, but
This is fun,
I
by the
mean
way.
we
I love counting the Blade of Eternity charges.
how many deaths can we get in one team fight?
It made a difference in a game that we cast yesterday, where you just couldn't have Blade of Eternity anymore. So yeah, one down for Yoma, one down for Rourke. I believe he died in that one fight. Well, that's why he's changing his build, right? Yeah, I'm pretty sure
Yeah,
he died.
he's sold his Blade of Eternity, and I assume it's probably with that sword going into a Fenrir's.
No, he's going
I
back.
mean,
He's going back into it. He already
uh,
sold it for something else. Now went back into it.
okay. I didn't think he'd end up doing that. I figured I didn't realize he'd only died once. But I mean, you talked about the Fenrir's tooth coming out from Sadman, and we saw the moment he picks that up in the team fight, the second people got low by being bursted by Norton, they just got melted by the splash damage coming out from Sadman. So you know, the late game ranged carry is in. That's a lot of damage that can come out from the side of RRQ. If I'm TDC, I'm worried about bunching up.
Well, in comes Mr. Sun's trying to get this down. Dark Demon comes out. Chidamon's going to go extremely low. In comes being a bro, so he's going to come back, but can he stay alive? Lots of damage coming in. He's a sliver of health. Snow tries to block it, but unneeded because he's going to walk away with the Stunner Shades on. No big deal.
And that was a really good pull at Dark Dominion from L9 to just get that over the wall and have that fight in this just really awkward bunched up space. Like we just saw what happened when they took a grouped up team fight where they couldn't kite, they couldn't do anything. And then, they're all kind of rotating around the side of the wall, and L9's like, hey, I can actually get you with this. I know the range on my skills perfectly. And it opens up an opportunity, and now we're looking at a Darkslayer because Summer's nowhere. Summer is on the other side of the map. Maybe can get the counter push and take out a tower.
Oh,
But
they're
Chagnor's
going in.
gonna
Oh, they
answer
take it. This is a 4v4 because Chagnor's going back. Mr. Sun's pops his ult. Ellen gets a little bit low, but not low enough. And Valheim does take that tower. He's getting extremely low. Is going to get taken out by the Chagnor. So it's hold on for your lifetime here for TDC, as there is a Dark Slayer buff, a Dark Slayer Drake, and 5v4 coming in. And Summer buys the Blade of Eternity a little bit too late.
Yeah, I honestly don't know if I feel that's worth. Chagnar is at a point where he's got a decent amount of magic damage, so he can quickly clear those waves up. Like within 15 seconds, he's already at the halfway point of the map, pushing out the wave in the bottom. They've got the wave pushed out in the top. It's gonna be a dangerous defense for TD.
The one thing they do have going for them, though, is they've caught up in gold. And so they're not going to get completely run over like they could have done so in the a few minutes earlier. But yeah, this is certainly going to be scary, especially with Sadman getting those massive shots off. It's funny because I remember when Whisk came into the game, people were talking about the AoE crits. It's like, well, we already had AoE crits in Slims every third attack. So certainly works out for him. I think he has, what is that, 45% crit percentage? 25 plus 12?
Between those two items, yes, 45.
And he has, like, let's see, 50 from the Scorching Wind, 25 from the Boots, another, like, 30 from the Slick Sting, I want to say. So that's 100.
Actually, no, that's 50. That's a flat 50 crit.
Oh, it's 25-25?
Yeah, 25-25.
Oh, interesting. And he has like plus 100, like 5% attack speed upon his normal attack speed. So he's like nearing the max of 200%, which is kind of nuts, while having the Fenrir's Tooth and critting. So yeah, that is certainly
And having armor pen off. Like, and I'd also wonder what his Arcana look like. Like,
if
might
this
even have more armor pen in that Arcana for that build. So you've got like you could put a flat 100 into Arcana,
here
flat
we go.
100 plus 45%. Like he's just absolutely destroying the tanks. The arm, if the arm is stuck still for a short amount of time, Slims is going to shred right through him.
Which is why she needs to get on that Slims when she uses her ult. They're gonna try to have this defense in there. Chidowan's getting completely melted, like you mentioned here. Snow's trying to get in there. Has to probably use his ult. He pops it right there, but no one goes down, which means they all have to run away. It would have been better if they actually died, but RRQ wasn't going to give him that sweet, sweet release.
They've got Summer back. They can make a full a fully grouped up defense. The Drake is gonna go down if they can kill it.
Oh, big Dark Dominion on the Summer.
Goodbye, Summer.
And no, Revive's coming back right now, so they're going to try to re-engage in this fight. L9 is getting extremely low, but so are the members of TDC. First one to go down is RRQ and Sadman, but Snow is going down as well. This crazy fight from both sides. Chidowan has the Blade of Eternity on top of that, so she's going to come back. And they're going to barely clean this up before it takes the top tower, so we have some more Blade of Eternity accounting on our hands. Chidowan, 1 use. The Valheim 1 use. I believe Rourke is selling his now because he used it twice. Looks like he's going to go into some magic defense. So no more reviving for Mr. Suns unless it's via Teamy. And looks like Winoise did not go down, so therefore he can still use his. But oof, that burst from Rie.
Yeah, I mean, they managed to take only 1 high ground tower, so that's pretty significant for a TDC. They now managed to take the second one. They managed to make the defense. It all kind of washes out. They use up a Blade of Eternity charges, but at the end of the day, if you're keeping structures alive and that's all it costs you, I'd say worth.
Yeah, the biggest issue, though, is Rourke has none left. That's actually looming large here, because you don't really... the panic button from Teamy, you kind of want to be used on someone else. And speaking of which, he's getting pretty low. Actually pops the Essence of the Wind active there. And they need to come back to contest this Kratos, or else they're going to be in trouble. But Summer's on the other side of the map, clearing wave.
So it looks like it's Chidowan. He's going to go in. Dark Dominion, he goes down. And
out that damage! Nornan! He's so low! Oh my god, Snow comes in. Okay, pops the ult. He's going to come back. He gets revived. Rhea tries to get in, get some damage in, but we already have 1 member down. Spencer Suns goes down. Rhea's going to come back from that, but he's going to... Oh, he takes down 3! Oh, they get revived, but that was huge. Snow tries to come in, and he gets the Shining Light, kills them. Oh my goodness, Rhea with the play of the game. Summer gets off his ultimate as well, brings him down. All of a sudden, we have a 2v1 on our hands? What is happening?
Too many revives, but oh my god, Rhea should be gone. No, when Noise comes in, blinks back, they miss the stun. That's gonna be the shield. It will go down.
But Valheim's on the core there. Valheim's on the core.
Not enough time. He's gonna get killed. He's gonna get killed.
Does he have revive? Yes, he does.
Oh my!
Can he kill the Noise?
Still can't do it. Still can't do it. He doesn't have enough damage. So this was my concern with the build that he ended up going was I personally don't believe in the Hyogas and Frostcape. I think you do one. I think you do one or the other because the scaling on the Frostcape bonus damage eventually starts to fall off, and that's an entire slot going into control when you've already built Hyoga's Edge. I don't think you need both. I think you go one or the other because he's only got 1 damaging item.
Yeah, he even sold the Blitzblade in favor of, I believe,
more attack speed.
Yeah, like or
no, he sold it for the Devil's Handshake.
Okay, well, in any case, Mr. Sun's gonna go ahead and run away. I think he sold it for like the Medallion of Troy, actually, just to get more damage.
Oh, maybe. Okay.
But all of a sudden, TDC's in trouble. They have to hold this because those are super minions coming through the mid here. Chidowan's taking a lot of damage. I don't know if they can push on here though. Snow goes down without getting his Being a Bro back up. They're gonna try to hold this, and it seems like it's going kind of okay actually. If you take a look at this,
I think they're scared of Rhea.
Yeah.
I think they're scared of that Liliana. Like, that damage was, one, absurd, two, just the skill to pull off that effective triple kill. Like, that was absolutely insane. So I think they're playing it cautious. They're gonna go get themselves the Dark Slayer, but again, I think Summer's build just isn't enough damage, and if Coop decides to pinch on him, they might pick him off again. Summer needs to be careful.
Well, they're collapsing on the dark side. I don't think they're going to take it, though. Yeah, they're a little bit too late. And they can't really fight this 4v5. Snow is one of the most important members on their team. Keep in mind. But
And
there are minions pushing down the bot, though. So that prevents RRQ from winning the game, at least for the moment.
yeah, they'll have time for Snow to come back up. They'll be able to group back up, and that I guess is the advantage that TDC has gotten out of the last few skirmishes. They managed to save their top tower, and they managed to take 2 up against RRQ. But I mean, this game has been significantly more exciting than I was expecting.
The Yoma has passed the 20,000 gold mark at this point. By the way, Valheim has sold his Gilded Greaves in favor of the Bow of Slaughter, so that will keep him alive even longer if he pops the active there. And they're going to go for the full actually, both teams are ambushing and nothing's happening. But here comes L9. L9 gets a big Dark Dominion potentially. There it goes. One always is getting extremely low. So is Chitawan. Chitawan's just gonna fall down, but gets the being the bro. Oh no, that was the that was looks like Snow's gonna come back from the being a bro. That was actually the Blade of Eternity. So unable to save her in the end, and looks like they're in full retreat mode. But Rourke is splitting to the bottom here to potentially get that bottom lane. Looks like Summer's going to go down as well. And we have a 5v3 with Rourke potentially split pushing. And the threat of the split push means that the Dioma has to go back, which allows the Rourke to go back, which means they might be able to hold this since it's just a 3v4. But Rhea's going to go down immediately. So, but she ends up coming back. No one's going to fall to this shining light. But I don't think she has enough damage. They're all on the core. So is the Drake. She takes one out, but one more fireball is going to kill her. They're taking out the core. They have minions, and that's going to be it.
Oh my god, just too many revives, man. Just too many revives. But we see a very different face coming out of RRQ. They managed to turn things back, pick up a win, and dear God, that was absolutely ridiculous.
How long was that game?
I mean, we'll see it. We'll see it in a moment, but that was absolutely absurd. I mean, are we gonna get a time on this?
It doesn't.
I mean, does it matter? Ryoma has 21,000 gold. The supports are at the 16,000 gold mark. Everybody is full items plus. Like, that was a long game.
And I love how on top of the revives we have Ryoma taking the Death Sickle just to provide some extra resilience to death. Oh my goodness.
Just gotta keep coming back from the dead, man.
Dude, Rhea, 227,000 damage. It's quite the damage, if I do say so myself. Oh my goodness.
I mean, it was messy. It was scrappy. I think the thing that both of these teams can take away from that match is, you know, kind of just a never give up mentality. That's not really the match that RRQ needed. It would have been nice if they were able to kind of keep the snowball they showed literally off that first play, but, you know, TDC wouldn't really let them have it. So they get a win, and now the question is can they win in a cleaner fashion? Because that won't fly up against better.
It's just funny, like, watching these highlights from so early in the game. It's like, this feels like 2 games ago. But yeah. You see, actually, I don't even remember this fight happening. It's been so long.
I remember that one. That was the one where Chitawan got that blink into the backline, and I was like,
oh, right. And this double kill.
Oh, that was ridiculous. That turnaround burst damage, and then this is the fight where L9 somehow kills Summer after he flickers over the wall. I was just like, I think I'll survive. I think I just don't really care. Like, just turns, gets him.
Yeah, Summer just didn't have enough damage, like you mentioned. I think he needed to switch to damage rather than continue.
I mean, the build that everyone's been kind of talking about and showing is that double slow build, and I think you only take one. I think if you transition one into an additional item, maybe you still end up selling the boots. Bow of Slaughter is a powerful item for Valheim because just the sheer number of instances of damage he can output to get that extra healing and to stay alive longer. But I think if he's got, you know, a a Fenrir's or no a Fafnir's,
Hmm.
like if he had Fenrir's if he or no, let me think about that.
I'm just looking at the team fights. Like, what? All these team fights were insane. Like, I had no idea what was happening the entire time.
Okay, so he had Fafnir's if he picked up a
Wait, wait.
Fenrir's. All those times where people
This
got
fight. Hold up.
low.
We have to watch. We have to watch
Oh yeah, we
Rhea
got to
here.
see this again.
So
So
she
all that
dies. She
damage,
comes back, and then
boom,
oh my goodness.
and then survives. Like nobody
Oh,
can get in
oh,
range.
and then she killed the Dialga too. Oh,
Yeah, like it was so impressive. Like she dies to Ryoma later because she sticks around. Like she could have just backed.
and the thing is, they weren't even like that low. They were all what, like 40% health left, and those some of those were tanks too. So she
40
goes,
40% to a third, just insta burst.
yeah. The reason why that did so much damage is because she went unpredictable, which does 2 instances of damage at the start and end of her ability, and then she used Blinding Light and Shining Light on all three of them. I'm not
That
sure if she
insta
got an
combo.
auto attack. Actually, the auto attack afterwards does a lot of damage as well. I think it was instant though.
Yeah, no, I think
But
that was just the I think that was just the instant burst. But I mean that's kind of you always think about AD carries being the late game powerhouses, but mathematically, the number of items that actually give you magic resist and magic defense is actually a lot lower. There just aren't as many options, and magic defense scales at a lower rate per level for characters. So she had the damage, and just those tanks got obliterated because they just didn't optimize enough, and maybe in some cases there just weren't good options for them. Like they were scared of all the physical damage coming out, and God, that Liliana burst. You don't see that very often.
yeah, it seemed like they were more concerned about
The Rourke.
the Rourke, right?
The
Especially because the
Rourke
Rourke,
damage.
yeah, the Rourke is the more frontline character that you're going to be tanking, right? You're going to be absorbing when you're getting into this team fights, but Liliana ended up being the difference in a lot of ways. But starting off here with identical bans to the last couple of games, starting off with that Superman and this Greg, and you see these players are certainly fatigued. I know we are after that game.
I mean, that's got to be both physically and emotionally draining. And now you've got RRQ like, okay, we won that, but that was hard. And you've got TDC being like, well, we stomped them game one and they came back. We need to buckle down. So to both sides, do you change up, any of these bans? Do you let anything really through TDC getting rid of Slims now? Does RRQ get rid of the Omen, or are they more scared of the Arm?
I
There's
honestly
there's a,
like. I think they're brain dead just
I
like I
can't
am.
yeah, I can't really theorize. I don't know these players well enough. I don't know these teams well enough to make that assessment. But the Raz gets some respect. It was pretty powerful for Norton. He made a couple of plays, picked up some kills he probably shouldn't have.
Well, the
Like
biggest
that.
difference from this past game to this game is that there's the only banned marksman so far is Slims.
That's
So
true. Lindis and Violet could be up.
and then
I
this
don't think as RRQ you ban it. You need to leave one of them up.
right, and they do go ahead and ban the Omen. Now, what will TDC prioritize? They might not go for either if they are comfortable with both and just kind of pick whatever's remaining and use their first pick for something else. Perhaps the Liliana.
The Liliana was very good for Marie.
We
I'd
can't.
also maybe
Uh,
continue.
the we have to mention that even though L9 seemed to be low in health all the time last game, he was doing work with Mina, getting
Yeah.
lots of Dark Dominions off.
Yeah, you might take the Mina and forego the 80 carry because you don't think they'd take both, but we'll go with the Violet and now Lindis and Mina. Is that the response?
Well, you don't have to go Lindis yet. I don't think. I don't think we're gonna see a double marksman with Violet and Lindis. Usually, when that happens, it's with a Valheim. I did see Violet Lindis earlier in the week, and it failed spectacularly. So, I don't I doubt that RRQ needs to take Linus right now.
I think you definitely take Mina though. I think you facilitate L9 with the Mina, and
Well, they could do the same thing as they've been doing all series, which is take the Mina Chognar.
I just feel like the Chognar's not doing enough. Or maybe it's just unseen, but I feel like there's something. Maybe there's another high impact pick you can take.
No, they are going to go for the Lindis, like you mentioned. The Chognar has been kind of off the side doing because he's been side lane duty, right?
He's
And
definitely been doing the job, but I don't know if we've. Maybe that's where you would adapt because we haven't seen like a massive impact from it.
right, I think part of it is that if they leave it to their opponents to pick Chognar potentially, the Dark Minion gets 0 value. So that's what they're worried about.
But they were terrified of that double marksman. So can TDC play the Chognar? Do they have somebody who can make good use of that and always be ready to be watching L9?
Well, they go for the Aurum, who is another one of those potentially side laners or supports. Illumia.
That would be an interesting change.
No. No,
Nope.
Liliana. Just kidding.
I was starting to like think about, all right, what does Lumia do for them? Like how they've played the games, like let them add an Lumia in there and do something crazy. No, let's just give Rhea the ability to triple kill the enemy team on command and just make insane plays like that. Keep them comfortable, and I mean, there's nothing really wrong there. Response to that, with the Raz off the table, do they go back to the Natalia? I would really hope not.
I think they're really considering the Chognar, and they're like, it didn't work first game, it barely worked second game. Yeah, they go back to the Chognar.
Okay, Crixie.
By the way, have you been paying attention to the Chognar build? Because we've seen AP Chognar before. I think it was like it was hybrid.
It's been opening Orb of the Magi into Boots, and then
I saw Barrett's, I remember, but that's about it.
Yeah, there was Barrett's in there. There was Frosties, and then Tank, primarily. So it was like it was the highly effective AP Chognar. Essentially, this is the maximum amount of damage I can get while still building tanky and getting some of that CDR in there.
Well, maybe that's part of the reason why it didn't seem like he was doing much, but he was kind of stealthily doing a lot, because if he was getting a lot of his Frosty's revenge off of the other team.
He was definitely super useful in the team fights from the perspective of reducing some of the crowd control and then keeping everybody there. We did see when RRQ had those team fights where they were clumped up, TDC couldn't go anywhere. It feels like that could have been a point to kind of flex maybe another possible side laner. I don't think it's bad by him. But no, it definitely felt like it lacked a little impact. Oh boy.
Annette.
I have not seen Annette at all.
Do you know her abilities? I can tell you.
I know her abilities, but let's refresh everything for the audience.
Okay, so her passive heals, or she gets stacks in her passive, and when she has 10 or more stacks, and someone on her team falls below 70% health, she heals the entire team. So it's one of those weird passes where you want to wait for it to go off so that you could actually heal everyone. Her first ability is an AoE damage plus slow. Her second ability is a slow on a line, but if you hit 2 targets, they snap together into really effective CC. And her ultimate is this huge hurricane that knocks everyone back and prevents any enemies from going inside. It's really good space control, crowd control, and splitting up the team.
So it gives them some opportunity to isolate some targets.
Okay, this is interesting from RRQ. So they basically, their first 4 picks are protect the backline comp, protect the Linus and the Crixie, and then they go for the Irie to be able to actually deal with the Liliana and the Violet. So they couldn't just have all poke, or else they're going to just get poked down on the other side. And so that's what they go for. On the side of TDC, they don't really have anyone to get to the backline, but at the same time, they do have tons of damage on the side, and they could split up the team if Snow is able to get in there.
I guess my question is how is TDC going to answer when noise when it comes to split push? Because if the Irie does get tanky enough, that's some very dangerous split push, and I can't really say that Ryoma or Arm is going to be able to handle that. So I think that's, I guess, my concern for TDC is they could get kind of macroed around the map if R or Q, feels confident in their movements.
Well, I would say Yoma has pretty fast wave clear. I mean, he can't really move across the map as quickly, but I think that's a
I just don't
reasonable
think
amount
he's
of.
gonna beat the Irie if she gets tanky. Like if she gets tanky, clears the wave, and then leaves, Ryoma's gonna have to like he'll clear it with Spectral Ire, but I feel like he's just gonna be slower on the uptake. It might be minor. Like we did see TDC, pull off a similar rotation in game one where they were just like, okay, 2 seconds, they're not there, take the tower. So I feel like that's kind of now RRQ's.
I don't really see too many problems, to be honest. I think there's
Maybe I'm just looking. Maybe I'm just looking for problems with RRQ. Maybe I'm just being too harsh.
right. Well, it looks like we do have a bit of an invade here from these three members. Arm certainly is one of the better ones, but nice pull here from L9, which means they're unable to capitalize and get this Might Golem. L9 has done that twice now in this series, and TDC both times have been like, oh, okay, good job, well played.
I mean, it is the proper response. They didn't go for the invade, but now they're maybe looking at a late invade. L9 kind of sticking around, or I guess they were just looking to posture cut off a rotation.
Well, they could have. Speaking of TDC, they could have just gone to the right side and prevented that from happening instead of just letting L9 walk in there and do that. But yeah, L9 has certainly been the MVP here for RRQ, I would say. But that all aside, we have a pretty even gold situation in our hands. Looks like TDC is kind of playing protect our jungler at the moment. A little bit of invade here, but I don't think that TDC is going to be too sad about a little tiny monster going to the way of RRQ. They're both going to be reaching level 4 right about now. Speaking of our junglers, there we go. So everything's hunky-dory. And we're just going to see how they congregate, whether they go for the Spirit Sentinel, which I guess they are, and then from here on, looking toward that Abyssal Dragon.
Oh, the attempted gank down in the bottom. Lindis shows herself. Ryoma backs up. Summer will be safe. And here's the full tilt rotation. This is definitely in TDC's favor since their Ryoma is down here and the Irie is still up in top. So I don't know if RRQ can safely take this fight.
Right. There is the cave. Okay, I was gonna say the cave is kind of in favor of RRQ stealing it though, if they could get something from long range, because there wasn't going to be the ability to chase there from TDC, but able to get it pretty safely. RRQ is able to stall out long enough for Irie to start wailing on this tower a little bit, so that's one thing in their favor. But they are down in gold, speaking of RRQ. A little bit of skirmish in the mid. I wish the cameraman would go there. Up there you go. Snow's getting extremely low. She has to fly away, and she's going to be okay, it looks like.
Okay, so our RRQ is kind of starting to pick up the pace, and I guess since the Irie is up against the Arum, then that matchup isn't really there that we were talking about before between Irie and Ryoma, just in terms of split push. So maybe the Irie manages to kind of drop that tower early.
Yeah, they might also switch, speaking of TDC, but L9 and Norton's kind of sitting here taking their farm from underneath their feet once more. Just kidding, it's going to get away.
I one day I hope that there's a little bit better of a reset indicator, but with noise, he's getting baited. Seems to feel that things just aren't safe enough for him, and will back up a little bit. But that would have been a good way for them to kind of shut down the Irie.
It's like things aren't what they appear in this certain situation. Noise, can she take out this minion wave before this gets taken down? No one's going to go ahead and try to help out, but in the bottom lane, Chognar taking out that Dioma with the help of his teammates, and oh wow, down goes Coop to the Liliana with that last shining light, as you saw in the split screen on the bottom left. I love split screen.
I mean, what would we really do without it? We wouldn't know what goes on in the entirety of the map.
Without it, would be the Valor series. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh, that was a good setup from TDC, but Chitawan just shuts down with noise, and now in goes Norton. He'll be able to pick up one kill. R9 or L9 shows up, Snow there as well. So they protect the tower and don't lose anyone. I was about to say like TDC set up a good rotation there. Like they were doing a good job of sieging that. Nobody from the side of RRQ was really responding. And then, I mean, when Noyes was like, I think I have an idea. I think I've got a plan, guys.
Well, there's no snare up here for Chitawan, so you can't really protect this. Try to use the beast to siege down those minions, but not completely successful. Finally gets it to go down before the tower does. But yeah, doesn't work out quite for them. It was a good play from on the side of the Irie, able to pop her due there and make sure she doesn't die even through the snare. This here is stolen from
Oh,
Mr.
Mr. Suns.
Yeah, stolen. Well, you can't really steal your own camp, but when there's a 3-man invade, I suppose. Right, well, ult popped here from Coop. Summer taking a lot of damage. Already popped his Spectral Ire. Wow, actually gets hit by the Shuriken there, or the fan, as it were. Coop getting a lot of damage as well, but Summer tries to go left, goes the wrong way. That is not the way you're supposed to go there. Summer gets taken down by Sadman. And I don't think that TDC... Well, they're going to go ahead and rotate mid. They can't really take the Dragon at this point because they're outnumbered. That said, Togner did have to go back. Down goes L9 after getting snared here. Norton pops the Moonfall. And this tower is getting extremely low as well. But it looks like they're going to move on to the Abyssal once more after securing that kill. And despite being 2v4 in that kill count, they are slightly up in gold, especially if they can take this Abyssal.
Yeah, I mean, after what, was, I guess, I would say just a misposition to death by Summer, although he's going to get dove under the tower, and with Noise with the plays, Sadman there to back him up, so they will pick up that additional kill on the Summer, but I wanted to credit TDC for just that instant response onto L9, but in goes L9, he'll get off the Dark Dominion, he'll get a pull back in onto Mr. Suns, and here is Sadman rotating around the map, using that Lindis movement speed. Snow gets knocked up, knocked down, double kill over the AD carry, a buff steal in his pocket, and all of that greatness I was about to talk about TDC instantly undone by RRQ kicking up the tempo and picking up the kills.
Right, TDC kind of overextending there as well, trying to make up for the Yoma death in the top side by taking on the mid tower, especially because it was so low, and as we all know, Violet has a lot of siege damage, but ended up getting rotated upon and killed, and there goes their lead. And by a large margin, too, they're actually falling pretty far behind.
Yeah, and we're starting to see Lindis just start to do Lindis things, starts to just be everywhere. Has the rank breaker, so the movement speed and the rotations are even higher. That's a bit of armor penetration. Is actually starting to get some damage because went with the scorching wind. Scorching wind instead of going for the Soul Reaver. I honestly believe in Soul Reaver a little bit more than
I do too.
Scorching wind, but it's working out. The rotations have been good, and there is another play by Noise. I don't know if they're going to kill Chitawan this time, but they should at least take that tower.
All right, well, some rotations coming in here from TDC. Okay, they're able to clear the way before it takes their tower, but that tower is extremely low at this point. The thing I want to talk about with RRQ, though, is they have their farm in the right place. Their Lindis is extremely farmed up, as on the side of TDC, all the members are extremely close in farm. You'd rather have your carries be a bit higher, speaking of Violet. So when it comes to these fights, we're going to see Lindis do a lot more than we will see a Violet potentially if they have a full-on brawl. It looks like this is a bit of stalling here from TDC, trying to make sure that Violet can get back into the fight, but a little bit too late. It does buy them a little bit of time, but they're not getting much done on the other side of the map either. And Irie's going to take the tower without any minions? Okay, she does do so. But she goes on to half health, which means they're taking this fight pretty nicely. Norna's getting pretty low. L9 getting snared here. Chitawan going low herself. But Coop is just in the backline, takes down 2 while this is all happening. Rhea tries to go on the opposing backline, but she gets taken out. All of a sudden, this is a 3-for-2 on either side. Suns go down 2 that executes. Summer is getting low as Wanoise is on top of him, and the combination of Sadman is able to take him down. That's an ace.
That's a full team wipe. Done incredibly well. RRQ split the right targets very, very quickly. And, I mean, Wanoise was just the cleanup crew. Wanoise was just there to be like, hey, guys, I'll shut down, pick up those last 2 kills, and ends up getting 2 towers. all of that off of the initial just very, very quick Abyssal Dragon from Sadman, using that additional on-hit value that comes out of Elendis. That was, like, I mean, like, play-wise, the way that was constructed and then the way that was executed by RRQ, I didn't think they'd get away with it, but it comes out very, very far ahead from them. And now if you're TDC, you need to come up with a new game plan, because you can't take a fight like that if it was 4v5, if Irie is going to either split push you or show up and make it a full team fight.
Well, I think Coop was the one who made that fight happen. He was able to take down 2 by himself when he was fighting 1v4.
What's his build so far?
Well, the biggest thing was the execute, right? Because he was able to execute 2 low members at the last moment there, so that was huge. But yeah, his build is pretty damagey, going for the over the Magi into that Frosty's Revenge, and it looks like he's what is that next build? I'm guessing that's Soaring Aura.
With the health, probably.
Interesting. Anyway, regardless, he has a lot of damage.
Could be it's either Soaring or Tome of the Reaper.
Oh, right. For the our own. But yeah, certainly doing a lot of damage there, and he really made that fight, in my opinion. Obviously, the cleanup came from the Irie, but he was just in that back line fighting 1v4, and they're going to take this Abyssal Dragon, Kratos, and try to take the team fight going forward. And do they have both? No,
yes, they have both. Yeah, they have both.
Oh, okay. Bye, Summer.
Yeah, I mean, this has been a bad game for Summer. He's gotten picked 3 different times, once under tower, once when pushed into enemy territory, and that time just not respecting the fact that the Abyssal Dragon just went down and likely RRQ is in the general vicinity. They're going to get the extra siege on the bottom. They've got the wave being set up in mid by Nornan. Koob is just like, hi guys, I'm here. You might just want to back up, because I'll go in and just kill your back line. Pretty much absolutely
should've won.
Gets dropped so low, and the Dark Dominion pulls him back in. He got stuck.
Oh my god, L9 with the plays once more, able to take down Chitawan. They're in the base. Wano is just kind of in there, scaring them off so that they can take this tower. I was about to say the one not silver lining, but one thing going for TDC is that Violet finally built her 3rd tier 3 item, but they're having a hard time holding this regardless. Second high ground tower goes down. Big Dark Dominion, Snow's extremely low, trying to survive, and does so kind of miraculously. But we're going to have a push onto this bottom tower. And Wanoise is getting some damage, and Dube takes down 2 before she goes down. That secures the high ground tower. Snow's getting extremely low herself. I think that's her 2nd passive going off right there. And yeah, this is a pretty done game, I gotta say, because once you take down all 9 towers, you get the super duper minions, I like to call them. They are bigger than the old super minions. They're big boys. They walk down the middle. They have more damage. They have magic defense, and they're hard to deal with. Look at those guys. They're as big as Lindis.
Those super minions ate their Wheaties today. They woke up, started breakfast right, came for a day on the Antares battlefield, ready to do the job. But yeah, it ends up being Tome of the Reaper for Coop, and Coop is doing insane amounts of damage. Now he's cutting all of that healing, so really starting to negate a lot of Snow's additional value. I mean, I think I'm still back on L9 with these Dark Dominions. Like, these have been frickin' perfect.
Yeah, absolutely. Speaking of which, just for good measure,
don't give RRQ Mina. Like, if there's anything to take away from this series, like people looking forward, other teams watching this match, don't give RRQ Mina, and honestly, probably don't give Coop Chognar. This is, even with game 1 not going their way, I'm actually starting to feel like that wasn't comp, that was all shot calling.
Well, we have these super dooming minions pushing onto the core right now. They're extremely hard to take out, even with all your damage dealers there. Look at, they're surviving through everything. They're more tanky than the heroes. And Snow's going to get extremely low. Wanoise is going to go in there. Poppy is to distract these members. Almost take him out. He gets taken down himself, but that means they have to stay in the fountain for a little while. And the core is going down. RRQ, in a major surprise to me in particular, comes back after a lackluster game 1 and steals the series with just completely different play from what they showed earlier.
I mean, it was just a better attitude. It was a better approach. You said that earlier in the week, their games looked timid, and that's the RRQ we got in game 1. They looked unsure of themselves. their rotations were kind of slow and it didn't seem like they were cohesive, then pick some characters. Maybe they seem a little bit more comfortable, turn things around. Maybe somebody gave the right words of encouragement, and after game 2 being such a slugfest, to take a game 3 like that fairly convincingly, like look at Summer was shut down, Chidwan was shut down, Snow didn't really do that much, Mr. Suns never really got going. This isn't RRQ have I think very much redeemed themselves this series.
Yeah, in a big way. I mentioned to you at the very start of that game too, when they got that one pick, I'm like, something certainly clicked for them. I want to hear the halftime speech between games 1 and 2. The coach getting in there. We're doing it for us. RRQ.
Like who riled that? Like who made them turn that around? Because that's not just compositional. Because you had 2 key core components in RRQ or in L9 and Coop basically playing the same things every game. Now that can totally be your backbone, but we saw better positioning out of Nornan. We saw Sadman kind of thrive on other AD carries, so maybe that adds to it. The Morin pick just didn't really fit, what they were trying to do. But that's an impressive turnaround. And if they just have to go down 1 game to win 2 more, like maybe that's what you got to do.
Yeah, well, that win, quote unquote, because really all that matters is points. That 2-1 edge over TDC puts them at 10 points and ahead of EVOS, but EVOS obviously has their game coming up as well. So let's look to see if EVOS can match them or if Beryllium can catch up back in the standings. They come into this with 6 points. So bad news for the rest of the teams trying to get into the playoffs because RRQ is looking pretty good once more, and they have the points to back it up as well. So we'll see how this plays out. Probably going to go to a break after this, but stick around, and hopefully this next game will be just as good. By the way, I'm still filling time. By the way, we can still talk.
Oh, I was about to mute. I guess the next thing for them to think about is the points definitely matter, but dropping that 1 game does kind of matter when you go into head-to-heads versus EVOS. If I believe their record against each other is, so it's 2-1 in favor of RRQ. They won the previous series 2-1. So I actually don't know if it's going to be head-to-head or if it's going to be map score. Do you know?
Oh, if there's a tie at the end of the season?
Yeah, for the 4th playoff spot.
I don't know.
I don't know what I can't seem to find anything that tells me what's going to be counted first. So if it's head-to-head, then you're going to need to see EVOS make the comeback and win, and win the series to have that even, and then go to map score. But even so, EVOS is already down. They've 1 more loss, so they need that 2-0 to move ahead of them when it comes to map score. So, I mean, that 1 loss kind of did close the gap, but RRQ, I guess, has that advantage. I'm curious as to what the rules are. I wonder if I can find that.
All right. Well, regardless, we'll talk about that later because we're gonna go to their interview now. Obviously, we don't speak Thai, but we'll let you guys hear it. Let you guys hear at least the expression in their voice, even if you don't understand Thai. And there's gonna be this is gonna be about a 10 to 15-minute break, and then we'll come back with Buriram versus EVOS. See you guys in a bit.
เล่น3 ตัว ถาม
อ
ถึ
ย่าง ง L9 นะคะเมื่อสักครู่นี้เห็นว่าเล่นตัวมีน่าใช่ไหมทำไมถึงเลือกเล่นตัวมีน่าแล้วมีน่าเนี่ยมีแบบข้อเด่นอะไรยังไงบ้างเล่าให้ฟังหน่อย
มีนะมันสามารถดึงจังหวะให้เพื่อนได้แล้วก็เล่นได้ทั้งเกมลุกแล้วก็เกมรับมา
ค่ะก็ยังเป็นตัวที่อยู่ในเมตาที่น่าจับตามองเหมือนกันนะคะตัวนี้แล้วอย่างเกมที่2ช่วยเล่าให้ฟังหน่อยได้ไหมแบบโอ้โหอึดอัดใจมากเลยเกิดกันแล้วเกิดกันอีก
แบบนานมาก
ใช่ช่วยเล่าให้ถึงเกมที่2ว่ามันเกิดอะไรขึ้น
ก็ตอนแรกเราทำได้แล้วเราก็พลาดแล้วเขาก็พลาดเราก็พลาดสลับกันไปมาก็เลยตึง
ก็ต่างคนต่างไม่ค่อยกล้าเล่นอะไรอย่างเงี้ย
เอางี้ดีกว่าทั้ง2คนคิดว่าอะไรที่ทำให้ทีมเราพลิกกลับมาเอาชนะได้ใน2เกมท้ายคะ
ก็เป็นการคอทีมนะครับสู้
ก็แอลนายค่ะ
ก็คิดว่าเกมสุดท้ายก็ตั้งใจเล่นกันแบบมากขึ้นแบบเหมือนมีกำลังใจจากเกม2อะไรอย่างนี้
ฮึดขึ้น
แต่สนุกมากเลยนะ เมื่อกี้ดูไปแล้วก็ลุ้นแบบโอ้ยเกมที่2นี่ลุ้นมากเลยนะคะเรียกได้ว่าเดี๋ยวทุกคนน่าจะอยากดูไฮไลท์ของเกมเมื่อสักครู่ที่3เกมที่ผ่านมาแล้วเดี๋ยวยังไงเราไปชมไฮไลท์กันดีกว่าค่ะ
Welcome to สู่ดินแดนที่ใครต่อใครปะทะปีนไปเข้าตีล้อมเธอเป็นแทบตายมันจะสักแค่ไหนจะปีนขึ้นไปจะไกลเท่าไร
After your trial has ended, you can rest. After your trial has ended, you can rest. I brought some new toys from the future. Can you hear me out there from the future?
อย่าลืมกดติดตามเพื่อชมวิดีโอใหม่และไลฟ์สดก่อนใคร
dead see the end of war.
สวัสดีค่ะ ขอต้อนรับเข้าสู่การแข่งขัน ROV Pro League ซีซั่นที่ 2 Presented by Two Move แข่งขันในวันนี้ดำเนินมาถึงคู่ที่ 2 แล้วค่ะน้องอิ๋ม
ใช่ค่ะ คู่ที่ 2 ของเราในวันนี้นะคะ EVOS เดบิวต์เจอกับบุรีรัมย์ Arctic Wolf ค่ะ แล้วตอนนี้นะคะเราก็อยู่กับตัวแทนจาก EVOS เดบิวต์แล้วนะคะ ขอเชิญตัวแทนจาก EVOS เดบิวต์เลยดีกว่าค่ะ สวัสดีค่ะ
ก่อนอื่นให้แนะนำตัวก่อนค่ะ
ครับชื่อปั๊มนะครับตอนนี้ก็รับตำแหน่งโค้ชของ EVOS ครับ
โค้ช
เป็น
ปั๊ม
โค้ช
นั่นเอ
ค่ะ
งโค้ชปั๊มคะขอถามนิดนึงค่ะวันนี้เนี่ยเราจะต้องเจอกับทีมที่เขามีการสลับไลน์อัพมาเช่นเดียวกันกับทีมของเราเลย อย่างนี้จะทำให้เดาทางกันยากหรือเปล่าคะ
ผมว่าก็มันก็เป็นส่วนหนึ่งนะครับที่แบบเดาทางกันยากทั้งคู่ครับอย่างวันนี้ผมก็มีเซอร์ไพรส์มาเหมือนกัน
บอกได้ไหมคะว่าวันนี้มีเซอร์ไพรส์อะไรคะ
ก็อันดับแรกก็ต้องดูฮีโร่ที่เราได้ก่อนนะครับแต่อาจจะเป็นดิวี่ป่าก็ได้ครับ
เชื่อได้ไหมคะนี่ว่าพูดจริงห
จะ
รือ
สับ
ไม่จริ
ขาง หล
เนาะ
อกก็ได้เนาะ
เขาอาจจะสับขาหลอกเราอาจจะไม่ได้เป็นเรื่องจริงก็ได้นะ
อันนี้ก็ต้องรอติดตามชมในเกมครับว่าจะเกิดอะไรขึ้นบ้าง
ต้องรอติดตามชมเนาะแล้วอย่างตอนนี้นะคะ แฟนๆของ EVOS เดบิวต์เนี่ยเยอะมากๆเลย ให้โค้ชเขาพูดอะไรถึงแฟนๆหน่อยดีกว่า
อันดับแรกเลยผมก็ต้องขอโทษด้วยนะครับที่ผลงานมันไม่เหมือนฤดูกาลแรก เพราะว่าเนื่องจากไลน์อัพเนื่องจากเบต้าที่มันมีการเปลี่ยนไปอะครับก็ต้องตอนนี้ก็ทางทีม EVOS Debut ก็ได้ทำการปรับเปลี่ยนผู้เล่นทำตามแผนที่วางไว้ครับการฝึกซ้อมมันก็ทางน้องๆก็ได้ฝึกซ้อมอย่างเต็มที่แล้วครับพวกเราก็ทำให้เต็มที่ที่สุดครับ
ก็เป็นกำลังใจให้พวกเขาเหมือนเดิมด้วยนะคะทุกคนเขาก็ต้องมีการปรับตัวตามเบต้าตามซีซั่นต่างๆ
และ
นะ
ด้วย
คะ
เรื่องของไลน์อัพ
ใช่
ด้วยยังไงก็เป็นกำลังใจให้กับทีมนี้เขาด้วยแล้วกันนะคะ
ไม่เป็นการเสียเวลาเนาะ
อ่ะ
ให้พวกเขาไปเตรียมตัวในห้องส่งค่ะ แล้วพวกเราไปเจอกันในเกม
ครั้งหนึ่ง เราเคยแตกต่าง ต่างมุมมอง ต่างที่มา ต่างประสบการณ์ แต่วันนี้ เราทุกคนต่างมีหัวใจเดียวกัน โลกของ e-sports ที่ค่าของประสบการณ์ไม่ได้ถูกกำหนดด้วยอายุ เพราะเราคือกีฬาที่ไม่ว่าผู้เล่นคือใคร เราทุกคนต่างเท่าเทียมกัน เพื่อความฝันแห่งชัยชนะ ที่จะดังก้องอยู่ในความทรงจำตลอดไป คุณพร้อมหรือยัง ROV Pro League Season 2 Presented by True Move Edge
What's up, guys? Welcome back to the RoV Pro League unofficial English broadcast. Hope you guys had a good break. I am D2. With me is The Source as my co-caster. And hope you guys had a good break. Hope you guys got something to eat, got something to drink, went to the bathroom, took a nice long rest. Yeah, I had a good break. I had some nice food. What about you, The Source?
I found a Red Bull to keep me going, and I read some emails. So
Nice. I'm more used to the length of these breaks now, so I literally went and made myself a chicken sandwich.
I mean, that right there is that was forethought. That was well planned.
But yeah, the breaks are kind of long, but it's nice, especially after a long series. Right after that, I'm pretty ready. Ugh. Oh my god. Okay, ready to talk. I'm pretty ready to get into this game. Charged up and ready to go is what I was trying to say, but I mixed them all together. But yeah. I have to ask you, since I asked Nigeria this yesterday, who do you think is going to win just based off of their flying punches in those pregame sets? Or were you not paying attention?
I don't know about the flying punch, but
because all of them,
someone had a pretty good flying kick in there. I want to say it was EVOS. One of the players from EVOS had a flying kick, but their colors are both blue, so like I wasn't paying super close attention.
I think Burium was first, so the second team that was on the screen was better.
So it was okay. No, it was Burium. Wow. Burium had a player in the background who just threw one solid flying kick. Like, all right, he got some air on that. Like,
all right, so Buriram, based on the flying kick, we're gonna have Buriram winning the series.
I mean, I don't actually truly believe that, but
of course you do. That's why I asked you the question. it's that APM. You got to use your feet to get those extra clicks in or extra touches on the screen. Oh, by the way, do you use your thumbs?
Yes.
When you play, I use my thumbs as well, but I've seen lots of pro players use like their index fingers primarily. I'm like, how? I guess theoretically it's better, right? Especially
if you put the tablet or device down, then you could very easily do that.
And well, because they use their left thumb for the joystick, but they use their right index fingers for the movement. Otherwise.
So it becomes more of a wrist and finger movement than just a thumb movement? Okay.
All right, well, taking a look at Burium, Arctic Wolf, Romeo, Tuno Name. I can never get that guy's name right. Mons, J-Gods, and Cointer. And they lost yesterday 2-0, but it wasn't that bad if I remember correctly. Yeah, they lost to Alpha Red. But they put kind of a fight up. It is Alpha Red, though. And Alfred's, what, 16-3 on the season? No, 18-3. So, can't really expect much there. Whereas yesterday we saw, 2 days ago, EVOS put up a better fight, in my opinion, against Alpha Red, taking a game off of them. And we take a look at their team. It's Cream, Mona Lisa, Kit, Zuki, and Drui. Drui was actually on the Thailand wildcard team. That was the second team to represent Thailand at the AWC Championships. And I believe the wildcard team got to the quarterfinals, I want to say.
Quarters or semis, I'm trying to remember back.
I think they lost to China. I think they lost to China in the quarters, if I remember correctly. They played China a lot. They kept playing China, and then they beat them at the boot camp, but then lost in the actual event.
So they did make it to the quarterfinals, and I believe you are right in. Actually, no, they lost to Chinese Taipei. Chinese Taipei beat them 3-0 to then go face Korea.
Right.
And Korea bamboozled North America. No other term for that. Like those Grok Natalia Slim Spears, that was a bamboozling.
I always go back to that series when Korea had essentially a perfect game. They had like 16-0 kills and like 9-0 towers, and just completely demolished them after they lost the first Abyssal Dragon. And then so whenever someone just throws their body onto the Abyssal Dragon in one of my ladder games, I want to just yell at them, "It's not that important. Just don't." Don't sacrifice yourself. It's okay. And then they yell at the other team, like, guys, look at the map. It's like, I see the map. I didn't want to kill myself. Sorry.
Yeah,
Anyway.
I mean, if you're not there at the right timing, I don't think it's worth it's not worth the death that people accrue, and then that's time off the map, and you always have to pay attention. It's like, it's not just what they get. If you die, it's what you lose as well.
Yeah, anyway, that was my rant. First time I've seen Irie banned. Pretty interesting here. I do like the creative bans and not just banning whoever seems like the meta player of the month or day or what have you. But yeah, I'm liking these bans so far. Mina, Morn has been pretty strong. I'm not sure strong enough to ban, but perhaps someone on BRAW, as Niberian like to call him. BRAW. Maybe someone on their team likes to play Morn. But yeah, these seem like very targeted bans from EVOS.
Yeah, and then we get the Grok ban. No, the Irie and the Morin, probably there's somebody over on the other side who they think is good enough at that, or there's a problem. Like, taking the Irie makes some sense if you're concerned about the split push and you're concerned about some of the side lane matchups. But
I don't mind banning the Grak if you also ban the Mina, because that's a specific type of ban where you're banning that type of character who you can control space with their ultimate and hook them in. So I'm fine with that. I just don't like banning the Grak and leaving the Mina. It's like, what are you doing at that point? But yeah, in any case, we're gonna end off with a Roxy ban, start off with a Violet pick. It seems like we still have Lindis up, by the way, so it looks like they're having that same conundrum, and they do go for Lindis in the end.
I personally like Lindis more than Violet after the change. I think it's Lindis with the higher mobility, or at least the more consistent high speed mobility, just like being able to, in my opinion, kite better than Violet, and then taking.
Wait, but Violet.
I think she kites better than Violet, because if you're moving in and out of bushes, it's consistent speed as opposed to the momentary jukes that Violet pulls off, especially with tactical fire losing some power. It doesn't feel like it has the same punch. I can catch a Violet, like, there's downtime for me to catch a Violet, whereas if a Lindis is constantly moving, I'm not gonna get it.
Right, my quibble is that you said after the patch, where Lindis got straight nerfed after the patch and Violet got a rework.
I think Violet got nerfed. It may be a rework and the damage was redistributed, but I think that it takes away from what made her good, in my opinion.
Are you referring to her movement speed?
No, I'm just talking about the damage change to tactical fire.
Okay, because one thing that people don't realize is her movement speed got nerfed as well, because now when you tactical fire, it used to be when you were within 800 units, which is about 8 meters if you kind of look at them as like being meters tall. It used to be that you got increased movement speed if you were within 800 units, and now it's only 400 units. So you had to basically be within Malok melee range in order to get that extra speed buff. So there's that as well, to support your kiting claim. Anyway, we've argued through the entire draft, but we are finally there. Looks pretty standard on both sides. Nothing's too crazy. Not a whole lot of counter picks or what have you either. Just kind of solid picks all around. Taking a look. Not anything too crazy here.
I mean, EVOS has got good poke between the Violet and the Raz, as well as also the Ryoma if they end up picking him up. I feel like their follow-up's a little bit more dangerous, because you're looking at Raz to kind of get in there, and if he gets kited, like if Cointer does the job super well and the whole team manages to like kite their way back out of it, you might see Kit overcommitting a little bit.
I like that they have double team split, right? Because Mallet can shock between the team and kind of force them to move in different directions. Whereas, and then Druid can use Annette's ult, which basically does the same thing, except, I mean, as far as splitting is concerned, except it literally pushes them out and can push members back.
It's a guaranteed team fight disruption.
Right. So I kind of like that part of their team. They speaking of the opposing team, they do have Chognar to mitigate both of those. But still, I mean, maybe that's why they got both. It's because you use one ult, he uses his Chaos Protection or Dimension, whatever it's called, to protect his team, and then you use the other one, and you can't protect everyone because it only lasts for 1 second.
Yeah, eventually somebody is going to eventually the defensive tools will get used up. We also have to kind of think about the Zenial and the split push, and what is this extra intro like?
Yeah,
That's
sometimes.
some serious swag. I'm liking the suits.
Yeah, sometimes they have the ad. Sometimes they have this intro. It's kind of nice. But yeah. Anyway,
Okay.
getting into the game.
I'm all for it. I love seeing interesting production come out across various games. Like there've just been so many cool things that teams developers
Oh!
Toon takes an absolute beating. Beware the bushes, my friend. And Mona Lisa gets a little aggressive over the wall, takes a bit more damage. They're going to continue to invade. J-Gods in from the top. Kit looking to go in, but only it really has that power surge. No level 2, no additional follow-up. Putting some pressure onto Cointer. The buff is going to reset. And now the question is, how much damage can Mons do from the bush? Cointer goes back in, but Toon is gone! Cream obliterates him, and now Cointer is in trouble. He's got that pushback off of the passive, and it looks like EVOS are ready to start things off with a bang.
Oh my god. Oh, well, that was still on the way, I believe? Yeah, still on the way. But goodness, Cream was just laying down the damage. He was the first person to get the damage onto Toon in the first place, and then finishes the job. Just laying down those wailing blades and knocking out the jutsus all over the place. That long-range poke/kill damage, I should say. Getting it done. But Drury and Kit are a little bit of trouble here. By the way, Kit, in all the games I casted him earlier, he played straight damage Chognar, so it's interesting to see him on the Raz this time, but certainly playing it pretty well so far.
Yeah, that was incredibly good spacing on the positioning, and then I was like, how is he going to push him back? And then it's, oh, he timed that, set that up, got the additional auto attacks in, so he'd get the auto attack passive, and that's a pretty good play coming out from a Raz who only had level 1. Like that's understanding your hero, incredibly well, to be like, I'm confident I can rotate, invade, and make that play. They're not going to turn that into an Abyssal Dragon and just kind of start to snowball their advantage. So a 1.4k gold lead already, that's fairly impressive this early in the game.
Yeah, it looks like Cointer's going to be in the bushes, but he doesn't really have great CC. Going to just slow him down a little bit. Drury trying to get the help, but Cointer just goes down. Hello. Okay, Toon's falling down as well. Drury's trying to get that slow onto them. Now, Drury's second ability has to force the Xenial port over. They have to run away, but can they get this kill on the Kid? He gets Death's Embrace. Drury pops the ult, pushes everyone back, but she's getting low as well. Are they going to be able to get away? But in comes Mons, gets the kill. She's within 4, though. It pops the Reiki's shot. Is Kid going to fall down? He's actually using his power surge just to be able to get a little bit faster there. Cream just tumbles away right in time. Cream is just impressing me so much right now. Just complete mastery of this Yoma.
Yeah, no, he's been playing incredibly well and dishing out very good damage to kind of keep Buriram from really all-inning that play. But back to how that was set up, that was EVOS on perfect timing. They were ready to invade, have the rotation down, and props to Drury to getting off the ultimate to be able to stop the value coming out from J-Gods, getting chain down onto Kit. But at the end of the day, the rotation wasn't there. They didn't get everybody in there fast enough, so they do get kind of rebuffed. They still have the lead, and we'll see if they can extend it a little bit more, because they are not really slowing down.
Yeah, and you saw the value of Drury's ultimate there, getting that off to prevent the death onto Kit from the Death's Embrace. Looking forward to seeing more of that, but yeah, the funny thing is Drury's trying to trying to pop off with her second ability, which is extremely strong if you can land it onto multiple members. It basically chains them together, and that's pretty powerful CC if you're able to pull that one off.
Yeah, I'm actually really liking seeing it because it's just not something I'm super familiar with. And I wasn't expecting that play from Drury. I didn't see that combo as even a possibility. So pulling that off very much impresses me. But
it's kind of like the Kelthuzad. You play HOTS, right? Kelthuzad, the chain. It's basically like that. Except you just hit it with one shot. But Kit's can kind of crazy damage off, and looks like the Romeo on the Xennial has to pop the ult just to keep Toon alive. That means that this Abyssal Dragon craze is up for grabs, and no one with the punish is nearby. So probably going to go the way of EVOS here. Mon's going to just poke at it to see if he can't get anything done. In the meantime, Lindis does steal out the camp on the top side, but it's a consolation prize to be sure.
They just don't seem to feel confident they can show up to that. They're just behind on the rotation. So get what you can for sure, but EVOS will answer that back with a Might Golem Steal, and I mean they're doing a very good job of not giving up farm in the lanes, but we'll see whether or not Cointer can make something happen. He's gonna get caught up by Kit, gets knocked up. Out comes the Chaos Protection, so he's able to kind of get out of there. Cointer goes super deep to try and make the play. He's still alive, and he might make it out. He's got very low health. Druid will go down. Zuki goes in and finishes off Cointer, and it ends up being a 2-for-1 in favor of EVOS, and they're considering chasing, but Toon is kiting them, laying down that Lindis slow. Mons goes in, but Mona Lisa finishes the job. Ultimate coming out from Romeo to give Toon the space to move back in. Picks up the kill if he gets into that bush. Okay, I think that's fair. It's kind of a dangerous target for him to chase without having the additional movement speed, but these fights are starting to get scrappy.
Yeah, absolutely. It looked like EVO's debut took a very convincing team fight, but overextending into the Lindis, and that's what you don't want to do. You don't want to get her farm up for her. She's rotating around the map right now. I want to talk about that previous fight. Zuki with the absolutely massive shock. Again, splitting the team and making things difficult for Buriram to get in there while it was still raging on. Cream's trying to hold this off. Gets a lot of damage onto these minions. And in fact, Toon is falling down because of the fact that she's taking damage as well. And whoa, J-Gods! Oh, hello, you are dead, buddy. Oh my goodness, Cream is just playing this extremely well. And with his team backing him up, they're able to pick off a member when it seemed like he was going to get dove upon there.
Yeah, that was good rotation timing from EVOS. A very, very quick response, and they're not going to give up that much. Malik is going to manage to hold mid and then get bottom to clear up the waves. They may end up losing this Abyssal Dragon, but they seem to have sniffed it out. Kid is here, but it is going to go over to Buriram, and now maybe a bit of a fight and engagement onto Toon. Cream is thinking about it, but getting a little bit of kited. Drury gets stunned. A little bit more damage comes in. Kid over the wall throws out a power surge. That dissuades Toon from getting too aggressive. Both teams are still positioning around this, and they'll go their separate ways with Toon going in for a little bit more of an invade.
Yeah, it looks like he is a bit tentative to go in here, especially because Buriram had that positioning into the bush, so they go ahead and let it go. I like the restraint from EVOS here, especially because they were being a little bit too aggressive earlier on. I like the aggression from the start of the game, but I kind of want to see them balance the aggression with some restraint in particular spaces, but they are getting a lot of damage on Toon here. 5v5 fight might break out as they're all pushing mid. Everyone just pushed down mid.
I think it started to get a little dangerous as Mons was landing plenty of skill shots. Like, the Shining Light is definitely going to hurt, and this is a good setup by EVOS. They get the rotation position. They can take the tower in bottom. The tower in top is going to drop Cream. Now, running for his life, did manage to dodge the pull back in, but he's going to go down. Death's Embrace has got him, and they'll finish him off eventually.
Eventually being the key word that he was staying alive for a long, long time. But, yeah, it does go down, and that does crucially even up the gold count nearly, especially because I mean, Kareem, up to that point, even though he had died earlier on, he had built up quite amount of gold as far as his bounty was concerned. Well, Toon goes ahead and gets out of there, and J-God's going to go ahead and steal this, or take away this Seagull. And EVOS is congregating in the center. I don't think they can get much done here.
Yeah, it probably is a little dangerous to position like that close to those bushes when you know that Toon was top half of the map. If he was in a different position, maybe he gets the slowdown onto Drury. Cointer, I think, has done a pretty good job of avoiding getting picked off. That one team fight in that jungle was like Cointer is like playing on an absolute razor's edge. EVOS will now pick themselves up the Abyssal Dragon, and I also think Kit's playing a little aggressively, but there goes Cointer. He goes in. The healing is going to come out from Romeo. The ult goes out, but again, he just gets so low, and Cream is dishing out massive damage.
Yeah, seems like it just miscommunication on their side because Cointer's trying to go in there, but his team's not, and so therefore he's just getting completely burst down. I mean, not even burst down. He's just get like everyone wailing on him, so therefore he's going to get wilted down as far as his health is concerned, and he has to go back to base. He's finally back here, but EVOS has properly split up as the Abyssal Dragon Kratos goes up.
That was also a lot of commitment. Like, he went in, burns the Chaos Protection, Angelic Splendor was used to try and save him, but now we see Zuki being chased into the bush. J-God takes some damage. Shaw comes out, doesn't connect, but forces them to back up. Kit eats massive damage, and EVOS, they really need to back themselves up. I don't think they can take this fight.
Well, they're still continuing to take the fight. A big ult from Druid. They're splitting up the team, but they're going to go extremely low. Oh my goodness. Zuki gets taken up, but so does J-Gods, get completely bursted down. Kareem heals back up with his Spectral Ire, and they're able to take out one more in Tomb before he goes down. Mona Lisa's on the chase, but he gets taken out before he could get his Tactical Fire off on the right target. Cointer and Mons are slivers of health as they walk away. And Violet could have taken that if she just hit the right target, but unfortunately didn't in that case.
I mean, a slight mistargeting. I don't think the flicker, or not the flicker, the tactical fire over the wall was necessary, because that put Mona Lisa in the middle of two targets instead of in kind of a safer position, and so that might have just been a little over aggressive. But I didn't think that EVOS really wanted to take that fight. They managed to turn it around by by just funneling the members of Bariram into, a good choke point. There was a massive slow that came out from Ryoma just to keep them all in that brush, and then they managed to turn some damage. But Kit is getting bursted, and despite all the jukes and dodges he had before, he's starting to eat a lot of damage. Dude just chases Zuki, doesn't get him. I think that was a canceled auto. I think he canceled the auto.
Well, he's getting extremely low. Kareem is getting bursted down as the Death Embrace comes in. Kit as well. He's not able to take out Tomb before he's taking out himself. Drury is not where she wants to be. That's a lot of damage coming the right. The ult gets canceled. And it looks like the Abyssal Dragon's going to go to the side of Buriram. And this is the buffed Abyssal Dragon. They're going to get all buffs, basically the same as the old Darkslayer buffs in a sense, if you consider them the same value.
Yeah, that's pretty huge for Buriram. That just the Lindis play to force him off, and then again showing up, putting some pressure on the Zuki. I thought Toon had kind of messed up, but I mean, if you get it back, and they manage to get the objective, I guess it's at the end of the day, it ends up being almost as good as a kill. If you at least force the target back, you don't necessarily have to overcommit and kill them. You still get the map advantage, you still get the positional advantage, and they end up getting the objective. And now they can kind of set up the siege. We've seen how much damage Mons is doing whenever he manages to poke onto Kit or Mona Lisa. So Bariram in a position to take the game to EVOS, and EVOS is in that 4-5 position we talked about at the beginning, where they really, really want to be able to find an advantage and keep up with RRQ.
Wait, why is the dark? Oh, that's because that's a production thing on the right side. I was like, why is the Darkslayer buff going down, or the Abyssal buff going down? But they have to go ahead and reset that. In any case, yeah, I'm liking the aggression from EVOS. It's just that their coordination hasn't always been there, and it seems like Kareem has been bailing them out of fights. And when Kareem went down earlier in that last particular fight, it just spelled doom for them in that situation. So I feel like they need to get Kareem in a good spot. He's actually doing more work than even like Kit and Mona Lisa in a lot of situations. So they have to make sure they get that coordination down pat. Kareem, speaking of which, never mind. That's not a good spot for him.
Yeah, that's a really unfortunate loss for them, because now they're out of position, and Mons bursts Mona Lisa, so they've lost two members on two separate portions of the map. Now with the Lindis here, they can probably take this high ground tower, even with maybe with the minion going down. It's still...
Well, they have another one. Just another one here.
Yeah. Here comes the wave. They should be okay. Zuki goes in, gets a cleave, gets a slow, but... In comes the Angelic Splendor. They get the heal, the dive onto Drury. They manage to get the tower. Zuki goes in. He's actually surviving an incredibly long time, but that's going to be a huge amount of follow-up for Buriram, and even with Drury getting that knockback, I still don't think they're going to survive that very long. I don't know if they can end, but they've gained a massive advantage, and all those towers are up in mid, so you can push down one lane and win the game. It only takes one.
Yeah, everything was just falling apart here for EVOS. First with Cream getting picked off, then Mona Lisa getting picked off, then they're trying to hold that tower, and I think that I didn't check it, but Zuki, I believe his ult was off cooldown, his shock was off cooldown, or on cooldown, excuse me. That's why he didn't take out those minions, and just went there a little bit too late as the tower was already dying. And you can heal through a lot with the cleave onto 5 members, but not for forever.
I'm very much concerned about Zuki's build. That is full defense.
Well, you can still, it's still true damage, right? So you
I guess that's true, but I would have maybe liked to see
a mental raw maybe.
Yeah, I like something that lets him get some value out of sticking onto targets. But Toon takes massive damage, and Angelic Splendor is used, but doesn't heal him up. Kit goes in the back line, but he can't manage to finish him. And now Toon has survived. They could easily turn this around. J-Gods is putting pressure onto the remaining members. Cream can't manage to get anything going. Cointer is in there. Zuki is low. He gets brought down by the Lindis. Toon hops into the bush, hops back out. Is going to push up some additional waves. Also has the revive on, has the Eternal Blade. So that kill may not have even been necessary for Kit. Like, he wouldn't have even been able to necessarily finish the job. He was effectively 1v5 in their backline.
Wait, did he pop it? Because I think that...
No, he didn't. I'm saying even if he'd gotten the kill, would he have gotten the follow-up? So that might have just been a massive miscalculation by Kit.
Kareem gets a lot of damage off of Toon. Toon has no mana, by the way, so she's going to have to do something
who
about
needs
that.
mana? Lindis, just step in the bush. I mean, yeah, you want mana, but still, like,
your ult,
honestly, though.
Your ult is like half your damage, and it requires lots of mana. So, in any case. Anyway, the reason why I was yelling Zuki is because he was so low in that team fight, and at the same time, he was about to get a cleave off on 4 members, got them extremely low, but no follow-up. Just getting that juicy cleave off feels so good, and yet feels so bad when your team is not there to clean up the members. Anyway. Had to say that.
I think I'm still back on Kit's dive. Like, that was super aggressive. I mean, you gotta make plays. Is gonna get hit with the death sentence, but is obliterated. Angelic Splendor in there just to help secure the safety. They'll pop the Drake and take this tower pretty much for free. I don't even know if they need to let this Drake take that much damage. They'll eventually step up, and they're starting to get super minions in the base. Ram in prime position to finish this.
Yeah, let's see if debut can hold on here. Taking lots of tower damage is Burium Arctic Wolf. Good defense by Evo so far. Wow, that second tower took surprisingly little damage compared to how much pressure was on there. Looking to push in is Burium Arctic Wolf right now, but Romeo gets chunked down, so does Cream. Cream's got to get out of there, but they got the minion wave. But here comes the other minion wave coming towards the mid. In comes the shock, but the wave is already down. Zuki doesn't have that life so quite yet because it says first cleave. And this looks like it's likely going to game. One more member goes down. Kid comes back. Let's see if he can pull off a miracle. Kareem takes out 2 before he dies. That's actually huge. But Toon with that coming back, and the minion's still alive. They're going to take the game. 1-0, Buriram Arctic Wolf.
I mean, we did have this last time. The team that was ahead in the standings dropped game 1, rallied back, took 2 games back, but that looked really good from Buriram. And just kudos to Cointer for that chaos protection, perfectly timed to stop the shock on that tower push. Just like that's the attention to detail you like to see.
Yep. And speaking of which, looking at his build, it was essentially full, not full support, but tending that way. Especially with Xenial and Omen manning the side lanes. But looking throughout this build, yeah, looking at Cream, it's very squishy. If you look at him, he really only has that Frost Cape. These days, Spear Longinus doesn't have that 150 armor. You only get the 400 HP, which, as I've calculated, if you go to SamuraiGamers.com, it's minus 2,000 effective HP, so it's a pretty big nerf, and doesn't feel too good when you're playing Doma and have to go for that. But yeah, Cream was doing the damage, but fell off as the game wore on.
I'm still kind of back on Zuki's build. I think there are you obviously want to be tanky as Malik, but I think there are moments where damage was effectively lost by not having any other kind of damage. Like maybe a Mantle of Raw would have given him a little bit more split damage. Those moments where he's got all these targets low and he's sitting on them, maybe he finds the kill. But yeah, Mona Lisa and Cream, they had so much damage. This right here, that slow that comes out from Cream, that proc on the Frost Cape, I think was where they gained the opportunity to kind of turn that around because it didn't look good.
And that one tactical fire forward by the Violet prevented, or if she had just tactical fired in a normal manner, and they had gotten the power surge and the tactical fire on the Chognar, they would have killed him and not lost the Violet, and that would have been pretty huge. But this is our ending fight, or not, sorry, the fight before the fight. Drury doing her best to keep everyone alive.
Yeah, and this again, an Angelic Splendor that doesn't get anything, and Kit's so far in the back line, and Toon still wouldn't have died at the end of the day. Maybe like that, I think, was just too much of a desperation play.
Well, the thing is, if they're gonna die at the backline, they need coordination between Kit and Cream, right? Because those are the only two members that can actually effectively do that. Malik can jump onto the team, but he can't guaranteed get to Lindis, especially when they're in the jungle like that.
I think I would have liked to see a Frost Cape. I think a Frost Cape is what I would have wanted to see out of Malik, because that would have given him more sticking power. It would have given him a nice chunk of damage. It still gives him that defensive capability, and I don't think that he was eating enough. I don't think that that he was going to get enough value on the Mail of Pain. I think that's where I would have liked to see him deviate, because if you just got that one more slow, then Cream can kind of catch up. Then the Violet doesn't need to be as aggressive far forward because the target is sitting there.
Yeah, one thing that was kind of preventing EVOS from beating them in team fights was they were just discombobulated, right? And throughout the game, it seemed like they were on point when it came to rotations and picking off members, but when it came to full 5v5 team fights, their team didn't have the necessary coordination to be able to take out the important targets. And they were kind of split up half the time. They did a good job sometimes of forcing the other team into little pockets, into, you know, little I'm forgetting the word.
Solid choke points.
Choke points, yeah, into forcing them into choke points so that they can take them out. But then there wasn't the execution there to get the targets down, and it just snowballed, especially at the fight when Chognar and Lindis walked out with like 1 HP each. From there on, the fights just got worse and worse for them, especially because I feel like Yoma need a little bit more sustain, because if he's gonna go that damagey, he needed to just blow up Lindis in a second and then, you know, get out of there, or just die to them. You know, he couldn't have that much damage and do as little in the team fights as he did.
So add one more damage item and give his Frost Cape to Malik. Malik is the one in there getting that CC. They still kind of have that team fight control, and Ryoma burst somebody. Problem solved.
Well, I think
probably not completely, but I'm just, you know.
Well, what I'm saying is he actually did build very bursty, but he didn't try to burst their damage. He just kind of sat there in a team fight, and it's like, well, if you're gonna sit there in a team fight, you build more tanky, you know? It's like either your play style's off or your build is off, one or the other.
Yeah. So Lindis banned. For they had it, and I think they're very much aware that could snowball out of control. Answer back. I don't know. I'm trying to think of where EVOS could make a significant change to their composition. I liked their composition.
Their comp was fine. I think they just fell off a bit towards the mid game, in my opinion. I think they need to execute a bit better. They got
like the Violet was getting the damage in there. Like that wasn't really a problem. There were moments where Mona Lisa just, you know, obliterated health bars.
I think it was one of those situations that you see a lot of times in solo queue games where a team forgets that they're not winning anymore. So things that worked before, when you were doing more damage to them than they were doing to you because you were ahead in gold, suddenly that flipped, and they kept playing the same way when they needed to play more conservatively. after the gold lead was erased. Well, Malik ban, which is what we typically see. It's funny how these teams are banning their own the heroes that they used last game. But gonna start off with that Violet here. It seems like the only other real marksman jungler is going to be Slims, unless we see something strange like a Tell jungler again.
I wonder where Barry Ram will adapt, because their composition was really mobile. They were able to kind of be everywhere on the map. They had the Xenil for the additional rotation, or the instant team fight rotation will show up, and they're gonna take what was their two side laners, so kind of keep that both split push and global presence. Doesn't really show their hand, still gives them space to pick up a marksman where they want one.
Right, well, Chognar is our first real switch up as it goes to EVOS this time. And he's going to be able to get rid of some of the CC. Keep in mind that you can prevent the Death's Embrace from hitting you, but you can't get out of the Death's Embrace with Chognar's ult once it is actually effective. It's like basically like a wall around you. Alright, well, Roxy picks up this time. She was banned in the previous game, so let's see how that mixes things up.
It's actually a ban by Eva, so they feel Roxy is, powerful side laner, has that pick potential, and now that they have an opportunity to take it, they will. I don't know if I put Kit on the Raz again. It was like super great on those early invades, and then
I think he's gonna go on mid lane Chognar. I'm predicting it right now.
Oh yeah, you did say he played that.
Yeah, I think he's gonna go mid lane Chognar. He just loves to get in that back line, use it, execute, take him out.
I'm down. I think that feels a little bit more survivable than the Raz, even with how good his jukes were. He couldn't survive tank wise, and bringing out the Slims, so taking the other jungler and the hard support.
Yep, Pyrrha comes out for, I believe, the first time today. And that's going to be a pretty nice boon for those team fights, especially when they're roaming around the map in the early game. Pyrrha has always been extremely good in the early game, and people didn't realize it because no one picks Pyrrha, but just having that extra healing, having that extra presence on the map in the early game when it's so crucial to get all those waves is pretty massive, and it can really swing those early game situations.
I mean, the change to her ultimate, I think, is just so... I think that was the wake-up call for everybody, because now she like, that mobile protection is so good, and not needing to worry about that channel. But
here we go, mid lane Chognar.
Yeah, let's do it. I mean, I'm waiting to see how teams facilitate her, just to get, like, is getting her to 4, is getting her to her ultimate. Like, can you just, like, maybe even find a way to prioritize farm on her? Like, this is me going off on weird random theories, but I'm like, if I get her ultimate just as soon as humanly possible, I just gain this massive team fight buff where I can do, dumb over aggressive invades, and I'm not sure people will catch on to it, as opposed to putting all your farm onto your standard characters. Just, like, literally get her to 4 and then starve her for farm. But, like, if you get her to 4s, there are, like, some interesting power spikes you can do around things like Abyssal Dragon and stuff.
Well, the funny thing is, you can say that about a lot of people, right? If we get
Dark
Dominion right away.
now that we have her team, now that she can be more mobile, I want to see if teams can come up with interesting compositions. That's really all I was saying. Random tangent side note: double marksman over on the side of EVOS, and we get to see whether or not they can kind of protect that.
We have a question in chat. What's the support girl's name on blue team? That is Annette. She is not out on Tencent servers. Looks like she's not going to be the next hero either. It's going to be Yebineth. So Annette is a pretty powerful support. Looks super fun to play. Heals with her passive. Has CC immunity with her second ability, as well as a pretty nice stun. Her first ability is a slow and an area effect damage. And her ultimate ability is a big hurricane that knocks people back, which is pretty cool.
We get more cool intros.
No suits though, but this one I like this better. I don't know.
No, I mean this has got some style. I was like, the suits was like, it was unexpected. It's like that's not what you expect in an esports team intro. So I was like, it's stuck in my brain.
Well, what was unexpected
It made an impact. It did its job.
Well, what was unexpected coming into this week was Kit playing mid lane Chognar. Look for him to build Tome of the Reaper as his third item, which is what he did in previous games as the mid lane, going off against lots of healing, which he is now. Curious to see if someone like Valheim or maybe Violet or something like that goes for Curse of Death, because there's a lot of healing.
Yeah, there's an opportunity for it. I would probably put it on.
Well, I'm saying
the Valheim.
Well, I know that Chognar is going to be building Tome of the Reaper. Just need one more member because that's a lot of healing. Not to mention that even Omen gets some lifesteal when he most likely builds Fafnir's Talent. So something to look forward to.
I'm gonna say if it goes on anyone, it's gonna go on the Valheim.
All right, we'll look forward to it.
That's my guess.
Your expert opinion.
Well, I feel like you're gonna get less value on it on the Violet, who is gonna be putting out less initial instance. Like if we're looking at instances of damage per second, Valheim is producing more instances of damage through his attack speed, through his auto attacks, through his ultimate. That I think. Also, the AoE on Red Glaives as another option to just kind of produce more of it, but that's just my opinion.
Well, Romeo takes quite a bit of damage. Unfortunately for him, gets healed up by Cointer here, but still taking more damage because he's trying to clear this darn minion wave. He doesn't really have to do it so desperately because this is pre 3 minutes, and if you guys don't know, the towers have about 35% damage reduction. They said 50% in the Darkslayer lane only, but that's not true. It's actually 35 and 40% in the Darkslayer lane respectively. Anyway, that's my tangent because they always make mistakes with these things anyway. Oh my goodness. But
so
good Abyssal take. Looks like they're gonna go 4-man invade here just to get this off. And they're gonna actually use Agnes Grasp onto the golem just to be able to take it out. Kid pops his ult. He's getting in there. He's getting aggressive. In comes the ult from Xenial, but too little too late as Cointer goes down. But is it though? Malleus Execute comes out from the kit. The Zuki is still holding sort of strong, but gets bursted down by that Shining Light. In the end, a 2-for-2. So interesting.
But I mean, a good response back from Buriram, but I mean, look who's still level 3. She's still level 3. There was no ultimate, there was no giant channel defense, and all of that armor at this stage of the game. Like, her ultimate has the highest value impact on its first use, because the amount of armor versus the amount of armor pen and how that gets calculated and where the diminishing returns are, she is getting her biggest value when people just don't have that much damage and people don't have any massive penetration items that have been picked up. Like, first use on her ultimate, like, had that been up, I don't know if they all die there. I think that Angelic Splendor comes in from Romeo, and things might have turned much worse for EVOS faster.
I think that half our chat turned off the stream because that was too nerdy.
I'm sorry.
You went too deep.
I went too deep, but it's just like that was literally, I said that I wondered if teams would do it, and I just saw a perfect example of where it would have been great to find her just a little bit more farm. But they're setting up the chase, putting some pressure onto Drury, and there's nothing really to invade, so I wonder what they're going for right now. I mean, they haven't checked the buffs necessarily, but that's some aggressive positioning, and then we get another double marksman rotation into the bottom lane, and eventually Mona Lisa is going to get that tower.
Well, 4v4 here, but they're in bad position. Speaking of Brim Arctic Wolf, in comes the Angelic Splendor, but minions, they're already down. Toon is getting extremely low, so is Kit. Romeo's taking lots of damage. They're all focused over here as Roxy and Omen want to join the fun as well, but down will this tower go as all of them are going back on Buriram.
Okay, so I'm not going to retract my per value statement on the ultimate, but I failed to adequately calculate the value of Kit walking in there with the full AP Chognar and then the additional split damage type coming out from Valheim. And I think that's probably why we saw the members of Ram just kind of get popped pretty much instantly. But they step forward, put a little pressure on Drury, walks away fine. But I still believe in my previous statement about how valuable that ultimate can be. But EVOS, good timing play to just pick up some kills.
I mean, you just see how good Kit is on this Chognar. And the funny thing is, usually Chognar, you say, okay, well, he has CC immunity, so you go for the Sonic Boots, right? Instead of going for the Gilded Greaves. But if you're playing that AP Chognar, you go for those enchanted kicks, buddy. Get that damage in. Certainly working out great for him so far.
Well, early game, people's magic defense is going to be pretty low. Most of the time, the first magic defense item that people build is going to come out of Gilded Greaves.
Uh-oh.
So
Romeo,
he's going to get
you're
that
in trouble.
value damage. But Kit's on the flank. He's coming in. Cream has done a ton of damage, gotten the CC down. Cointer is caught. He's chasing onto Tim. Kit's just going to destroy him. And now has Mons. Mons, I think you overcommitted onto that. I think you thought you were too safe because Kit is coming for you. Does manage to get out some very significant damage. Ooh. I mean, I like Lindis more than Violet, but if Violet's the only marksman in the game, or at least...
As a former Xenial main, seeing Romeo Malleus in like that, I was like, oh goodness, you're dead. You have no escape,
you sure
my
have
friend.
gone too far. But J-Gods comes in, gets the pull back onto Drury, but is kind of getting bursted down, taking a lot of damage from Cream. That's a good stun coming out from Cointer. Zuki is there.
Oh!
Mons gets knocked back. Drury with the play. He is going to get the 1-for-1 trade, but here comes the Divine Intervention. Does that get stopped? No, it did come through. And the members of Burger managed to walk away from that, but okay, Drury's got some moves. Like, Mons still pulled off the kill and traded, but Drury's got some moves.
Yeah, able to get that ult almost at the perfect time to push back the Liliana into the team. But yeah, certainly worked out for them in the end. Considering that Buriam was coming back with all their members full health, the fact that EVOS didn't get out of there with any... They got the Abyssal for all we're talking about, right? So, worked out for them in the end, and they have picked themselves up a 4,000 gold lead as Drury has no fear. Gonna go ahead and stun out J-Gods with that second ability I mentioned earlier.
So we're gonna do some just a little bit of quick math to talk about how powerful Kit is right now. If we consider how much, so he's got the additional magic pierce on the boots, he's got some good magic damage in there, and we think about the average amount of magic defense that the characters will have. Right now, at about this level, it's going to be somewhere around 60 or 70. He's basic, like, before we count in, like, people who've got Gilded Greaves, he's probably effectively doing true damage. He has a little bit of pen in those Arcana, and he is going to be so dangerous because magic defense scales at such a lower level.
Oh,
and
big spear.
Just let him get in the back line. Look, he's looking immediately for Toon. They're going to get the pullback in from Zuki. They do manage to get off the ultimate from Puree. In comes the Divine Intervention. Kit's looking...
Oh my god, that damage! That damage from Kit! What happened? They were completely outpositioned. Cream's going to try to go in. Gets Toon. Down Romeo's going to go as well. That fight just turned because Kit was doing massive damage. Buriram had the positioning. Everyone was extremely low. Out of position, caught under that Death's Embrace. Couldn't go anywhere. Drury tried her best to keep members away. Kept them away long enough in the end, it turns out, because Kit was there. The cavalry came, just threw out that damage, and everyone got chunked down.
Like I said, effectively, Kit's more or less doing true damage at this point. You combine a Gilded Greaves that's 110 magic resist. You've probably got about 100-ish coming off of characters based on level scaling. So he's got 70. He's got 75 to negate maybe half of that, and then some additional armor pen. Like he's doing so much freaking damage. And until people nobody's really optimized magic defense with the exception of that Omen. It looks like they're still focused on that armor. They're afraid of what Mona Lisa can do, and you have to be scared of that. You also have to be scared of what Cream is bringing. The just combination damage split between how valuable Kit has been in the fights and then what Cream and Mona Lisa are bringing. It's just, if I'm Buriram, they need to be the ones who get off some massive CC combo and either pick an individual target or catch EVOS, with their pants down, and right now it doesn't seem like that's going to happen.
It looks like Kit is foregoing even going for the Tome of the Reaper, by the way. He's like, well, I have enough damage. I can just kill them through this healing. Because Coin just doesn't have quite the level to make that happen.
I think he's going for...
He's going for the...
Barris?
He already built Barris. He's going for Aegis now.
Okay.
Which is...
I mean, you consider the health percentage value that you kind of get there. I mean, I'm not going to question Kit when it comes to this build, because he's positioning properly, outputting massive damage, and has been a significant X factor in these fights. Him picking up some defense just so he survives longer, go for it, man. Especially because he's getting very, very close in, and I actually don't think that's Aegis. I think that's... oh, no, you're right, that's Aegis. I then just saw the mana, so... And yeah, you were right about that. I was like, oh, he's...
Okay, as someone who plays a lot of heroes who use the Aegis and sometimes get low in health, or someone low in mana.
I thought it was Shield of the Lost. I didn't see the mana, so I thought he was going for Shield of the Lost for the proximity of how close he's getting in there.
Oh, he got Shield of the Lost. But he also... Not Shield of the Lost, he got the...
yeah, he got Aegis. I thought he was going for Shield of the Lost. That's my mistake.
I was getting mixed up with Knight's Plate. Anyway, by the way, they took the high ground tower. This might be the end of the game. Oh my goodness, Mons gets completely chunked down. Romeo, that's not where you want to be. The tower is already taking damage. Cointer just dead almost. Look at this. Kit just... Alright, I'll back up and take out this Obed. Sure, why not? Minions, are they alive? Doesn't really matter. Violet can probably still take down the core regardless. But here come the minions. That means that's going to be the game. Cointer just goes down randomly out of nowhere. And wow, they just kill him in the fountain, I suppose, as EVOS takes a quick gain number 2.
I think this is the tale of the day. The team with the higher points fighting for the 4 or 5 position gets slapped around a little bit, wakes up, and is ready to bring out their best characters. And dear God, don't ever let Kit have Chognar.
Exactly.
You don't want to do it. Like, I really want to know whether or not he's got Pen in his Arcana. I think he literally just has to with how much damage he was doing and how effective that was.
Right. Particularly because if you're talking about the green Arcana, the defensive ones aren't the greatest. You might as well go for Flurry, which is amazing. So, yeah, I would imagine so.
I think if you go full Flurry and full Violet, it comes out to about 80 magic penetration out of Arcana. Somewhere
it is
in that
80
range.
Is 88. I've actually done this math before.
Okay, so it's 88 plus 75, and everyone just had Gilded Greaves, and like that was it. Yep. Like he just walked up to the squishies and was like,
Romeo, oh Romeo, poor Romeo, 6.2% damage. It's not unusual to see Xenial with the highest damage on the team because he just blows people over with his shield, but not that game. Not at all. And look at this. Look at that nice ult from Druid pushing them back, getting the kill on the Cointer. Lots of members going down, but wow, that was actually the scrappiest fight of the day. After this, it's all EVOS. And look at that. Yeah. Malleus in, and you're dead, Romeo. Sorry, buddy. Good night. Kit going in there, getting the damage. 2, just... Nope, sorry. Execute. Boom. Oh, this is the fight I want to see. Okay, they get chunked. Look how much they get chunked out of nowhere.
Yeah, like
they're fine. Look, they're fine. They're fine. Oh my goodness! Like, what just happened? It's like they were winning that fight, and then all of a sudden, 3 members just lost half their health. It's like, yeah, that'll turn a fight a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, you also, like, it was the kind of the Kit show, but still, like, that damage right there, that was all Mona Lisa. Like, there was so much pressure from Kit that the Violet didn't need to think about anything. It was just like, oh, I can hit whatever I want, I can kill whoever I want, I can position, as just, like, aggressively with the team. No one is going to threaten me. Because Kit was just such a dominating force in so many of those team fights. And then, we get to a late game Violet, and it's like, oh yeah, just like casual quadra kill you in the fountain.
Yeah, and that's a sign of like a good team, right? You have the mage early. I mean, sometimes it's the marksman early, mage late, but in that case it was flipped, where a lot of times I've seen like Natalia burst people, but then the Violet comes in riding in late. But this time it was the Chognar into the Violet, that deadly combination. But yeah, speaking of Kit on the Chognar, the last time I saw him play that was against Alpha Red, the top team in the league. First game, they actually held them pretty close. It was considering they're playing against Alpha Red. And then the second game, they surprisingly took a game off of Alpha Red. And then Alpha Red banned the Chognar, and then they just rolled. Alpha Red just rolled over them the last game. So if I'm Buriram here, I say that Chognar is a priority pick / ban. And in fact, if I'm EVOS, I say that Chognar is a priority pick if they are able to get him first.
Yeah, he might legitimately be first pick worthy if you. Granted, we haven't seen what these teams do Mina wise. There was the power of that Lindis, so there are other factors to consider. But I mean, if you can get it, it might be first pick worthy. It seemed like it was just enough of a factor to put Buriram under pressure to open up the opportunity for the Violet to just get to where she needed to be. And at the end of the day, you don't need to kill everybody if you're putting up a threat, and he was killing everybody. Like he did both jobs. He was scary to deal with. He was a concern for target, like to force the enemy team to target him, and he also could kill the backline if you let him.
Yep, which is absolutely what you want to go for. It's just kind of crazy, right? Because it's Chognar, and yet he's killing everyone. Like, what is going on?
I mean, the first time I ever played up against a Chognar, I was off at a side lane, and he just rolled over me. Like, I didn't know the character's name. I knew what his kit was, but I was like, I just called him Lord Elefante. Like, he just ran the absolute table. I was like, this elephant is destroying me. And my friend's like, what are you talking about? I've never seen a Chognar do any damage, and I mean, damage. I don't think we've seen damage Chognar be this effective, and a team played around it as well as they did.
You know what's funny is when my first account, I played a bit of Chognar, and I was terrible with him. And I actually saw a couple of brown bag videos where he was talking about you got to be aggressive on Chognar, and then I went and played him on NA, and was just rolling people. I had an 80% win rate in my first 20 games. And I was like, oh, it's got to play him aggressively and kill people. Like, in my first instance with him, I was just, pressing my 1, sometimes I'd press my 3 if people were in trouble, but it's like, you gotta get in there and kill some fools.
Yeah, and again, I think it's EVOS playing around him well, giving him, like, he goes in and they supported him pretty well. There were the times in, I want to say it was game 1, where Cointer was on it, and he'd go in too far, but wasn't building the damage to necessarily do it. So, like, he was playing the way kind of Kit was, but his team wasn't following up with him, and he also didn't have the damage to make it happen. EVOS, I mean, if I'm Buriram, I'm making a tough decision. What is more dangerous? They think the Lindis is more dangerous. I'm EVOS. I
would really want to pick the Chognar. Like, who else are gonna pick here? They don't have the Mina available. I guess Grak is available, but come on.
They first picked Violet in the last game, so maybe you worry about giving up that.
There we go.
There it is. they see it, and we do too. That Chognar was just devastating. You are giving up the
much really.
Carry. You're giving up the Violet in theory, but honestly, if Kit plays that well, I think he can facilitate any other carry to be able to.
Well, Violet's already banned. Violet's banned already, so.
Oh, I didn't. She's underneath an image. I was like, yeah, the Violet's up. So they gave that, but I guess not. They didn't really give up anything.
Well, they gave it the Slims, and that's the last remaining marksman jungler, unless they want to go.
But like, you also you can still get a marksman out of the Valheim. Cream played that really well. Didn't like was diving behind towers, had really good stun setups. So
yeah,
I think that you can put Mona Lisa on something else to the point where it's not that much of a give up. The Grok might be a concern, but I think with the Chognar you can justify it after you showed how powerful.
Look at the 67% ban percentage, by the way. That's a little bit excessive for my liking, even though there is 60% win percentage. But that's the same win percentage with Mina, and Mina has way more games played. But regardless, they're thinking of who to take with for their marksman jungler, I believe. The problem I have with Valheim is he's not a marksman jungler. I think they're thinking about either Fennec. I'm not sure if they've practiced the Tell Teamy thing we saw earlier. That's all I can call it.
I don't know. I think you could get away with a side lane. I don't think you need to stick in the jungle.
They could also just go for the good old-fashioned assassin jungler.
Yeah, like I think you could pull out an assassin jungler.
Oh, this
and
makes me
it would
sad,
be
by the
okay.
way. This makes me sad. Because they're not going to go Chognar mid.
Oh, right, because they picked the Natalia. Hmm.
Oh, tears.
That is unfortunate. That's a valid point. Unless it's still Chognar mid, Natalia side lane, and we're getting crazy.
I thought the same thing, actually. I'm like, Natalia, she clears waves. She does do that.
They might get that crazy and just go no marksman and pick up kind of a double bruiser, maybe.
They need some sort of jungler.
Who's left?
I don't know who they're good at.
Maybe
That's
you're
a
right.
problem.
Maybe they play the Talanis and they can find a way to make it work without necessarily taking. But
all right, Fennec it is. Fennec has a 40% win rate in this league, but kind of have to do it at this point.
I don't know if I believe in Fennec, but I'm open to change.
I like
open
the Crush.
to change EVOS.
I like the Crush though, because Crush has been. Wait, where do they? Wait, who's the support though? Is it the Crushed?
Yeah.
Typically, when we've seen Chognar and Crush in the same lineup, we've had Crush on the side lane and Chognar as a support. But I would like to. I don't know.
I think it's. I think Crush can still do his job from a support role in the sense that he's getting a little bit less gold.
Oh God!
Because
don't look, 38% win rate for Fennec.
Yeah, I'm like, I don't know if I believe in Fennec. Like it's. I'm not gonna say it can't work because Fennec has really great rotational timing, dropping towers. He feels like budget Lindis to me.
Well, it's also this particular league.
That's
and fair. It's also kind of a self-fulfilling prophecy if you're not really confident in the Fennec. There's also the fact that I think the best teams are better at drafting and they don't find themselves in a position where they're picking the 5th marksman jungler. So it's like all these things put together. But I think that this should work for EVOS because I believe they're the better team.
Yo, Kit, Drury, switch characters. Do it.
Yeah, Kit, what are you doing? What are you doing? Oh my God, you're on the wrong character. Go back.
Like, I'm a true believer in this Chognar mid. Like, I am totally on board for it.
Especially because, like, I love how I set it up, and then it just came to fruition. I'm like, Kit's gonna go mid with this Chognar.
You're like, oh yeah, he plays a sick Chognar mid. Next game, they pick Chognar. He's gonna do it. Does it. Just destroys everybody. But EVOS, they
that said,
come back.
Natalia has been disgusting in this league as well. Like, for some reason, her Arctic Orbs and Spears just have a magnet on the opposing team for whoever plays them. So.
I mean, Natalia, I believe in significantly more as a character. The only reason I didn't like it in that first composition is because I thought they were trying to be a little bit more mobile, and I was like, why would you want to stand still? Whereas in this composition, there isn't the same kind of dive. Like, the dive isn't as good for Buriram, so I think EVOS will be safe with that. There's enough things to disrupt that because you've got the Crash who's just going to throw out the Metamorphosis. That Tidal Wave is going to come out, and then there's this whole, like, no-go zone where Kit can just kind of fire off abilities and doesn't have to worry about being dove as much.
Oh my God, the denial. I love the denial. Just Drew uses his first ability to deny the counter hook there. If you don't know, you actually get CC immunity just from using your first ability, which is nice. Oop, and a dodge.
Not gonna catch him today.
By the way, mid wave is already cleared by Natalia because that's how fast she does it. Just uses a couple of first abilities. We are having the Chognar on that support and the Crush on the side lane. Typically, when you have the Crush on the side lane, you see him. Oh, he's gonna go in. He has the punish here. Interesting. What is that building into? I'm guessing Leviathan, obviously. I guess, I mean, you're not going to have that much damage on the Crush.
I mean, secondary objective control, giving you one more punish to kind of make some things happen.
Right. Oh, wow. Okay, pick a nice hook on the Mona Lisa. Getting pretty low, but nice.
Oh, that burst.
Yeah. What is the name of Fennec's first ability? The,
Sparky Lightning Sigil thing?
The Sparky Lightning Sigil thing. It does full damage if you stand next to it. So if he gets all 4 attacks off and you're standing next to it, it does all the damage that it does to the primary target to you. So don't stand next to that thing. It hurts. That's what that was, by the way.
Yes. I mean, my concern for him is less about his damage and more that I worry about somebody like the Raz picking him off over the course of the fight, but he is level 4. He does have very good zone control. Hook is going to come out from Cointer, isn't going to
Oh, the
connect.
damage on the Cointer!
He's gone. He's absolutely obliterated. Cream comes in, throws out the damage, and says, "Hi, I'm level 4. You're not."
that was the combination, I believe, of Kit and
Thief's Mark. Thief's Mark is what we're about to see destroy this tower, and I don't know if Romeo wants to go in there, gets stunned up, obliterated, gets executed, doesn't manage to get off the Ghost Walk, and this is spiraling out of control pretty fast for Buriram. They don't even get that is why Zuki has that punish, counter secures the buff up against J-God.
Ah, very, very smart, because he knew that J-Gods would be just owning all the objectives otherwise, especially on the other side of the map. So nice forward thinking here, realizing that that was their strategy, to really own this particular lane, because they think, oh, Crush is in the typical side laner, we have the Kilgroth, he's able to own him, particularly with the punish, so they go counter punish. Very, very nice.
Yeah, cut down on his farm, cut down on his acceleration. He's going for the Scorching Wind because he's looking for that on-hit
the steal again!
Zuki, that is some on-point play, and just that's what, a solid 200-ish gold, maybe a little bit more, that has just been denied from J-Gods that he normally would have gotten. Like, he just would have accelerated. It would have given him the stacks to build that up. He could stack on-hit magic damage from that, as well as his Fafnirs, and then go tanky. And that's really, like, 2 items, and you're already pretty solid.
We have a little bit invade here. Looks like, or not invade really, but potential team fight. Hook goes on to Kit. Has to flicker out, but safe nonetheless. Big Minotaurs comes out. Coins are already down. Getting pushed back is the rest of the team from Mond, but they're on the chase for Toot, and he is going to die. Big fat spear coming into this phase. They may lose. I can't really see the health bar. Yeah, it's going down.
I think they got it. I think they'll defend it because J-Gods needs to get out of there. He's really not that tanky yet. He doesn't have that much damage. He's starting to build into his Fafnirs, but that is a ways out. And that team fight was really well coordinated when I think it was Cream who got pulled in off the hook. It was either no, it was Kit. Kit gets pulled in off the hook, and there isn't a follow up. There wasn't a way to they didn't feel confident following up and instantly killing the mage, the perfect target to hook, and then Cream shows up and just absolutely destroys them with just one more well placed ultimate, and they'll get a pick on Crash, but Crash for the Abyssal Dragon, I'll take it.
They did get the tower as well before that, which allowed them to get the pick. It looks like Irie's gonna go ahead and rotate over, but Sage still goes over because the Thief's Mark. Thief's Mark is pretty nice sometimes. Even when they steal it away, it's still yours. That's why they call it Thief's Mark.
Shiny. Even though I don't believe in Finnick, I'll accept those terms. Drury takes some damage, is going to get cut off, but isn't going to get slowed down, and quickly gets away to safety. The Crest is back up, so we could see EVOS look for another team fight as soon as Drury manages to back and reset himself. And, I mean, I think we're just waiting for the next opportunity for Cream to make a big play.
Cointer keeps trying to steal these monsters, but Mona Lisa is on it, basically clearing them without anyone being able to be on it. So, yeah, Mona Lisa, you said he's kind of like a poor man's Lindis, which in a way is true, but he does clear a bit faster than Lindis, especially with that Thief's Mark doing ridiculous damage. So, he is definitely a snowball character. And one thing he does way better than Lindis, though, is take down towers, as that hook is denied. And Lindis is one of the worst marksmen, actually, at killing towers, because he relies so much on her ult, which cannot target them, whereas Thief's Mark will go on those towers and wipe them out. Zuki won't probably die regardless because of his metamorphosis, but doesn't want to pop if he doesn't need to.
I think I categorize Finnick under this rotational objective control.
Oh,
in a sense, but
Kit! Oh, the metamorphosis! Oh, the ult! The ult goes on the Cointer! They're all dying! Oh, pause. Oh my goodness. I love how the response to being in trouble for Natalia is never to run, but to just pop everything and hope you can kill him before you die. That's a true Natalia. It's like the best the best runaway, the best escape from this is to kill you all.
Gonna die taking you with me. I mean, there was a moment where I actually thought Natalia was gonna survive. I thought that the knockback from Crush on the metamorphosis was gonna be enough to kind of set that up, and maybe Natalia walks away from that. But
did she die?
I guess
did she die to the Grak passive?
it's
possible.
No. I think she died to Romeo.
Right, and there was a lot of damage onto her, but yeah, I was like,
yeah. But yeah, I guess to my point, I categorize Fennec under this objective control rotational marksman jungler, and his job is to secure buffs very, very quickly, to grab those, and then to turn that into a rotational advantage, and then show up and take the tower. And even the Lindis is kind of worse at that, and they are doing that right now. They're in the process of, we've cleared out this entire top half of our jungle very, very quickly, and we've rotated in to take a tower at the top.
Yep.
So EVO's definitely playing to their advantage.
Yeah, and you see Burium trying to negate that, right? Through 6.5 minutes, they haven't lost a tower yet. They're certainly on their game as far as clearing waves, but can only hold it off for so long because Fennec will just destroy those towers. I wonder what this pause is about. Probably disconnect. So, what's your favorite food since we're here?
Favorite food?
It's actually harder than it sounds, right? It's like, I like a lot of food.
Yeah, like there's so much food out there.
There's so much food out there.
Well, no, there's so many types of food. We live in such a global economy where you can have different types of food. I like Korean barbecue is amazing, but like also so is pizza. And you know, my favorite restaurant in this town is a pasta restaurant. So it's different.
I think that since I've been living in Japan too long and pizza's very expensive here, that pizza has kind of become my like de facto favorite food, just because it's like so rare to get. I mean, it's not that rare; it's just expensive, so I don't really want to pay for it.
Yeah, the town I'm living in's got a really good by the slice pizza place, and the pizza slices are really big. So
you know what?
Like,
okay, I always try to argue this. I think that chicken on pizza is very underrated, and I hear people like try to like bash it, saying that it's dry. It's like, then don't make it dry.
Well, it depends. It depends on the chicken. Like,
I don't like barbecue chicken pizza. I don't like barbecue chicken. Just put chicken in a normal pizza is what I'm saying.
So one of my preferred slices of pizza at this place is a chicken pesto. So instead of using red sauce, they use pesto sauce. You get a light salty-ish flavor with the pesto, and then the chicken. And yeah, Toon was dead to begin with. Like, Zuki was mid-dunk in the middle of it. The question is whether or not Romeo is going to win this.
Oh,
and
this shield!
Zuki jumps. Ooh. That's good play by Zuki. Zuki
oh, wow. J-Gods goes down. Great play by Cream as well. Oh, my goodness. Just action all over the map. But yeah, Zuki played that really well. One thing I was thinking about was that Romeo just picked up Barrett's agony as it was going to the pause. So that burn damage could have taken him out. But unfortunately, Barrett's agony is 3% times 3. Ooh, that was close.
Oh, Natalia.
Oh, Hook comes in on Cream.
Not enough to finish him. Cointer doing a good job. Mons can't follow up, and everyone survives.
Yeah, except for this Abyssal Dragon, which is likely going to go to debut. Taken out so quickly. Between the Natalia and the Fennec, there's no monsters are alive right now. Even just throws out his ultimate there just to clear the minion wave, because why not? Because all of his cooldowns are so quick right now.
So, good map pressure coming out from EVOS. They're taking continuous objectives. Again, it's all about these higher ranking teams waking up and they're showing a display of, we've got enough. I think what's impressive to me is how many heroes they're showing that maybe their first game they weren't playing comfort, they may be playing meta, and then you put them on something more comfortable and they find
the damage on Cointer. Oh my goodness.
Like so, Cointer gets absolutely popped. It's perfectly coordinated from EVOS, and now they can pressure the tower.
He was popping World Devourer through all of that, and it's like, you're gonna die, I'm sorry. Oh my goodness, that was just so devastating. The good thing for
So
Burium, though, is only 2 towers down for them, and they're only about 2.5 K gold down, so they're
I
certainly
still
not
think
out of this.
they're losing a lot of momentum though. Like this is starting to be EVOS dictating like the pace of the game and just being like, no, we will kill you. We will dive every opportunity and we'll find it. I mean, Mons put some pressure on Drury, but does Drury really care?
Well, the thing is, what I'm trying to say is, all it takes is one team fight to stop the momentum. Whereas, in a lot of situations, if you fall too far behind in gold, even if you get a nice team fight, you're still trying to scrap back.
That's fair. The gap is not as far. Kit.
Oh,
Run, Kit, run.
Oh, the Juke Master. Oh my goodness, able to get away from that sticky situation.
Toon, are you sure you want to do that? Like that was. I guess nobody was engaged, ready to go in and absolutely pick him off, but like that looked dangerous for Toon.
Yeah, that's the one weakness of Debut's lineup, despite having a lot of damage, is that there's really not a whole lot to engage. But here comes Koresh with perhaps one of the only engaged tools in the Metamorphosis. See if they can get something to happen right here. But bottom is getting pressured by the Kilgore. Oh, no, the Whitney Wave is not there, so just kind of feigning pressure, I suppose. But
maybe still put some pressure on the tower.
Ooh, this is a big deal. This is the big dragon. This is worth the team buff. This is what they're looking for. And the World Devourer comes in, so you can't use Metaphors quite yet. It comes out right now. Big damage coming out from Kit, but unable to take out J-Gods. The buff is in for Arctic Wolf, and that's contributing a lot to the team fight. Many members alone, Evil Save You. No one going down yet. They get a 4-4-0 with multiple members at 10% or less health. What in the world just happened?
That looked so good for Buriram, but 2 things went wrong. One, Mons got stopped. Mons had that full team CC, like the knockback damage was there, but J-Gods wasn't in the backline doing damage, wasn't in there being a Crashed and being a Kilroth, and just wailing on the whole enemy team. And then eventually Cream showed up, and we've seen what happens when Cream shows up on an Irie. He absolutely destroys the end of the team fight. Show up 4v5. The members of EVOS will have played it to the maximum level they can with missing a member, and then Cream will clean everything. Absolutely destroys.
Well, that said, J-God's just 1v5 defended all 3 lanes by himself. So that is one thing going here for Buriram. And not only that, but he cleared all the way, which means they get all that gold, or at least he gets all that gold. So they're keeping up in gold despite a near wipe. J-God's good thing he was still there.
Yeah, he did get shut down a little bit earlier in the game, but he's through to his Yogas. He's got the health percentage on his Fafnirs, I believe. He's starting to kind of reach that late game push. Oh, the hook back!
Jury has no ultimate right now, so unable to deal with that hook at that particular moment. Next contention point is this Dark Slayer, but neither team really in position to take it. But this Kilgroth is doing so much work this game. They completely negated all of the progress that EVOS got from that particular fight. And I think J-Gods has almost too much farm. He has like 8k, whereas the rest of his team doesn't have enough to his name.
You might need to kill J-Gods, because if he does survive, he does get a split push, even if you win the team fight, if you're too low to go deal with him, he might end up just being too much of a problem. He's now 5 items into his build. I'm not sure what he ends up going for his last one. I don't think he needs to get tankier. I think he can add some more damage and just become like a true, like he might even be able to like 2-shot Mona Lisa if you're not careful. Cream goes in. And
why?
He misses the ultimate. Doesn't hit anybody. No shield for him. Nothing. And now the members of Burger are trying to collapse. But they don't do it, like they can't do enough. Here comes Kilgroth. J-Gods is in the back line. He's starting to shred them down. J-Gods is the problem. You have to deal with him. Kid is caught. Kid is down. Drury is being chased now. They'll be able to get a power surge onto him. He doesn't have enough CC reduction to reduce that much CC. And all it takes is J-Gods to show up into the fight.
What a disaster. Mona Lisa got forced back early. Then Kit was too far forward into the fight, unable to land all of her abilities. She only got like half of her abilities onto one hero, didn't get nearly the damage she wanted to get there, and all of a sudden Zuki, with an entire Metamorphosis health and shield bar, just gets bursted down by the members of Buriram, and things just fell apart in a hurry, that fight. And Buriram obviously takes that. That's Dark Slayer pushing on all lanes, or at least the top and the mid here. Let's see what they can get out of this. Chain Hammer comes out. Are able to take that out. Can they take the Drake? The top tower looks like it's going down, but Zuki able to clear the wave just fast. And Mona Lisa takes out the Drake in the meantime. Can they hold up this last wave here? Damage coming down. They're going to dive into the back line. Down goes Toon extremely fast. Nice play by Cream there. She goes down for her efforts, but that's worth it for them. Zuki, however, is super low. No one there to protect the squishy backline, and Kid and Mona Lisa do not want to go in without their sexy frontline. But that gets taken down. J-God's going to still try to take this out, even though there's no minion wave, and successfully is able to do so. So even in this late stages of the game, just a little bit of better execution could have been there for EVOS, but Buriram able to take advantage in the end.
I think in every single one of these team fights, you have to ask yourself, did you kill J-Gods? If the answer to that question is no, you haven't, like, nothing else matters. J-Gods has now reached, like, insane late game Kilgroth status where, like, doesn't kill about that tower. It's just dealing that damage. Kid is putting the laser on him, and he's like, I really just don't, I don't care. I do damage, I'm tanky enough, I can get away, and if you do decide to fight me, I will lifesteal, health percentage, mixed damage source destroy you. And he's bringing everything to the table that he needs to. He can still be isolated, he can still be caught, but that's going to have to be EVOS' primary target.
And he just has enough magic defense to deal with a Natalia burst. Even though Natalia, looking at her build, she has full damage and is still not doing enough to this Kilgroth because he has the Hyogas, has hedged the medallion troll. Big fight team fight coming out. Cointer is extremely low. J-Guts onto the Mona Lisa, takes out 2, gets the kit, and that's all the damage gone. Zuki's trying to do his best, but I don't think he can do enough here. He can't kill 4 members by himself. Neither can Cream, and this could be game right now. Chognar, Drury has to go back to base. Can Cream recover in time? They don't really have the minion waves other than on the bottom. Speaking of Buriram, Cream can just run away all day. I don't think they should really try to fight against her. But Drury, without the damage build, can't really take out these minion in time. J-God, they just take him out! Forget the minion wave, forget killing the tower. They just take him out as quickly as possible. They're going to get this tower as well. Mid tower is under siege. On top of that, they're going to get all 9 towers. And maybe the game, no, they're going to back off. Try to go for that Abyssal. These death timers are wearing off. This is what we talk about, Source. 9 towers down. The big, beefy, super duper minions, I like to call them, come through that mid. They have those wide shoulders. It's hard to deal with. Hard to come back.
I mean, the minions with wide shoulders will carry the game, but EVOS, they did what we wanted out of them. They killed J-Gods, and guess what? The game didn't end. J-Gods wasn't there to be able to walk at the core and finish things, so they've survived.
But at what cost? He killed Kit and Mona Lisa.
I mean, like that was one, that team fight positioning was really difficult for EVOS to really managed to survive that. They got kind of heavily collapsed on Buriram. Now waiting in the bushes, looking for an opportunity. They can just kind of mess with EVOS. They don't really need to take a fight. They can move around the map, pick up minions, and just eventually win this over time. Because at some point, some dam is going to break. J-Gods is going to find an opportunity. Cream, survives him, but it doesn't take that very long, and now they know that Cream is isolated. He has to go deal with things, and the Marja is going in, getting some slows down. They've gotten the World of Valor on Izuki. Zuki will be finished off.
Pause the ult!
Metamorphosis. He's going to survive a little bit longer, gets slowed down, is throwing out a bit of CC. Can Cream make anything happen? Uses the ult, but isn't able to get far enough into the back line. Toon manages to kite him out, and with everybody too scared to pick a fight with J-Gods, it is going to be super minions marching down the mid lane, and Buriram looking to take this 2-1.
Yeah, Toon is on the core right now, doing that massive damage. In fact, changes course to Drury, but J-Gods is on the prize. He knows where it's at, and Buriram, Arctic, while taking, in my opinion, a surprise upset victory over EVOS, 2-1, and that's absolutely huge for them because they are right back in that playoff picture.
Yeah, this has now significantly changed things up in the standings. EVOS, they managed to get 1 point. They dropped down a bit, but now Buriram, they're right behind them. The point standings are RRQ at 4th, EVOS at 9, or RRQ at 4th with 10 points, EVOS at 5th with 9 points, and BRAW will take a position over TDC with 8. So they're closing the gap. Another good week from them, and they could overtake EVOS and maybe start to threaten RRQ.
Just looking at that J-Gods. Mons actually had the highest score there. But I felt like J-Gods was certainly the gods of that particular game. He was just unstoppable. Literally.
And
he literally has CC immunity. He was unstoppable. Anyway,
but like with what Zuki did to them in the early, game, he kind of shut down that early start, and J-Gods just managed to sneak around the enemy team, find the opportunities to find that farm, and eventually just got out of control.
The funniest thing about that game is that the near team wipe that EVOS had kind of worked against them indirectly, because J-Gods mopped up all the farm from 3 lanes, got an insane amount of gold, was able to build up even to the Medallion of Troy really early so that he wasn't bursted down by Kit, and he was unstoppable. It's like you got a 4K and you lost the game because of it. It's like, what? How did that happen?
Yeah, I mean, it's the value of just good rotational positioning and just finding a couple of really well-positioned team fights. And again, we're getting a look at the standings, and RRQ, they had a good day. They won their series. EVOS, not as good for them.
Yeah, RRQ was a huge surprise for me because they were terrible on Monday, and then terrible again, it should be said, in the first game, and then the light switch came on, and they were playing well again. Not really sure how that happened. EVOS...
Coach June gave the speech of his life.
Absolutely. EVOS was their typical aggressive selves, but got edged out in game 1 and 3, so kind of feel for them, but can't take anything away from BRAW. But it still remains, our top 3 teams are Bazaar, Alpha Red, and good old AWC finalist IT.City Bacon. Alright, that is going to be it for us. They're probably going to have a winner interview after this, so Source, you want to say anything? I'm going to actually stream a couple of games after this, so...
Thanks for having me on. It's been a couple of weeks since I've casted anything, so I definitely felt a little bit rusty, but hopefully you invite me back again, and we learn more about the awesome Thailand team intros. That's what I'm here for. The team intros.
All right, guys. Check back in next Monday at the same